love engaging with anyone because we're lonely old men that play video games from fucking 30 years ago. This is the Imperial Shows of Honor podcast. I am Josh Folan.
And I am Jay Baxtron.
And we are going to be bullshitting about the 400 years of console gaming as we revisit the periodicals that covered it again. Today we are getting that Daisy BB gun, whether mom likes it or not, and pew-pew-pew-pewing our way through Dragon Spirit, the new legend for the Nintendo Entertainment System. For our literature of antiquity, the best we got going for us is a one-page now playing appearance in Nintendo Power 14. That's just a brush over, basically. And then some kind of, sort of, semi-hot classified info tips in Nintendo Power 20, a stage select code, and a Start with 20 Dragon Lives code, neither of which I used. I would like that to be put out here before we get started. Emulation disclosure. I own this cart, so I played a wee bit on OG hardware with my advantage, and then I tried to use the same tool of destruction via RetroArch on my PC for all my podcast bullshit, but it wouldn't work for some reason. My fucking advantage is on the fritz.
Oh, no.
For emulation purposes only, oddly, so I don't know what to think about that.
What?
But I definitely got to get to the bottom of its stat, because it's a fucking problem.
Right?
And this is a game I 100% would have wanted to play with the arcade vibes to it. But I, in the meantime, went with the standard controller for this undertaking.
Oh, man.
Until I get that fucking blip on my radar sorted out in my life.
I mean,
Jay, how did you?
I emulated it with standard controller as well. I didn't even consider the arcade, like the NES advantage, until I was choosing the music and I was checking out the arcade tracks. And then I was like, oh, arcade version. Like, I wonder, but not like I didn't have time, but I just didn't. It was like, it's fine.
Yeah. I have programmed myself. That's like the first thought I think. Like I said, I even did it a little with Marble Madness, and I was like, this isn't good. Yeah. This is not as appropriate as I thought it would be, just because it is an arcade game. Doesn't mean it's perfect. But yeah, I always fucking like it. Would it enhance my experience? Please rate and review the podcast if our podcast enhances your experience of life. And if you give us a new review and become part of the ISOH movement, give us that validation and self-worth on that podcast platform of choice you do listen to us on. We will read it here on the pod if we think it's funny or it makes us feel good or maybe other reasons, but
just
probably
because.
Just those two. Yeah, just because we like, engagement. We love engagement. We love engaging with you, the listener. We love engaging with anyone because we're lonely old men that play video games from fucking 30 years ago. So we just want to talk about the weather or whatever. What are we jamming on now, Jay? What are you jamming on?
A couple of different things. So still playing a little college football, just kind of in the off seasons there. So really just recruiting, pulling in my 5-star
in the off season. It's in the off season.
Yeah.
Fucking.
Good times. But the funny thing about that is that, I've been in this two dynasties now with the guys that I used to play Call of Duty Zombies with all the time. And we pretty much stopped playing COD when college football came out. But now that we're in these dynasties, we're technically on separate teams. Once a season, we might play against each other. So we're kind of just playing separately, playing the same game, but separately. So it's not the same vibe as, squadding up together. And so I just sent a text, a week ago, kind of like, hey guys, this is cool. I kind of wish, I kind of miss playing a game together,
I'm a lonely old man. I'm playing old video games with this other asshole I make a podcast with. We got to do something modern, please. Something modern.
And so they're like, yeah, we agree. And then like a couple days later, it was like, hey, you work at Microsoft, find us a game, find us all a game to play. And so I chose a couple of different games and I just threw them out there to see what they would think. First game was The Finals. And just because it's like a game I've seen out there in the news, like, hey, big multiplayer co-op kind of a thing. I didn't know anything about it. I was just like, hey, we can check this out. I thought for sure
this was a basketball game when you said that.
No, it's some kind of arena thing. I honestly didn't even play it yet. I downloaded it, but haven't touched it. So I sent them that, like, hey, we could check this out. And I sent them 33 Immortals. And so obviously I've been playing that. Like, I played it in the beta before it was ever released and thought it was great. And I've been playing it a little bit, kind of dipping my toe in when it came out, a couple weeks ago, I think. And so I sent them that. They're like, hey, this Immortals game looks kind of cool. Let's try that. And I wasn't sure if it would be their jam. Because again, if you haven't played it, this is kind of like co-op multiplayer Hades. And so it's a fun story. And I mean, I don't like the fact
they don't like fun stories. These guys don't like fun stories.
No.
No. I hate fun stories.
No, it's cool. It's cool because it's still, dealing with defeating Lucifer and all these, supernatural beings and things like that. But again, like I said, co-op multiplayer Hades. Very different if you're like the type of player who likes the big popular games like college football, Madden, COD. So I was like, I'm not sure if they're going to like it. To my surprise, they love it, and we've been nerding out on it. And
see, this is what I say about movies.
Oh.
If the people knew that better movies existed, and they weren't just being fed superhero bullshit all the time, they would like the movies that are actually good that are being made. They just don't know about them, or even if they see them, they haven't been programmed to like them, so they don't. But if you could get it into their fucking faces and get them to engage it, their opinions would change. But no one wants to do that work.
Hey, I support that.
I digress.
But yeah, man, it's because of that, I've been pleasantly surprised. We have been nerding out, jamming on it. There's been some bugs because it is still technically pre-release. Like they're working out, like there's a host of issues. Because again, it's up to 33 people at a time. So, things can happen. And so we weren't able to like group up for like a day. But now we are, and so it's just like we'll be sending each other texts like, oh, I just leveled up, like, oh, I did this run, because we're still, as much as we like playing together, there's still those moments when it's like, hey, I'm by myself, let me just get a quick run in and like level up this stat, you know what I mean? And so very similar to the way we play Call of Duty. But it's been great, man. Like I didn't think I would like it this much even when it came out, but like every other game that we've played, or at least that I've experienced, it's always so much better when you're playing with other people, especially people that and not just a random 12-year-old, now they're under the line,
yeah,
or just random people that you're not talking to at all. So it really elevated my experience from, okay, this game is cool. I don't know if I want to just keep playing it over and over like it looked cool, but now that I'm playing with other people and we're really understanding the upgrades and like the things that are possible once you kind of advance more through the runs, it's like, it's so addictive. But again, as someone who loved Hades and I will say Hades had a lot more story to it than this does, but the co-op and the upgrade system of this, it kind of almost feels like I'm doing ESO trials regularly with like a bunch of different people.
Honestly, that was the thing about Hades that really probably was my biggest impediment, is it didn't have any upgrades. It was, you started from scratch every time, and that I can't. I need to feel something changing. Yeah.
That's what I'll say. That's the great thing about this, man. Like even it's funny. Even the other day, like obviously I got them into this game, and it's kind of funny. We've been going back and forth between a couple of the guys who have like leveled up and gotten like really good at it as well. About who's getting ahead, but like I didn't even realize. There's a point where you unlock weapon upgrades for each of the 4 different weapons you have, and I'm like, oh, that's great. So each run I go on, I'm not only equipping an upgrade, but hoping to find like a new and better one. Because some of them are kind of like, yeah, it's an upgrade, but I don't know if I like what this does because it's a trade-off. I might lose distance but gain damage, that kind of a thing. But I didn't even realize that you could also just straight up upgrade your weapon itself separately and like increase your stats. And so I was feeling OP the other day, just like smashing stuff on my own with one particular weapon. And I'm like, yeah, I think like maximum damage is X, say 22. Like, yeah, it always says max out when I get there. And then one of the guys is like, really? I was like, I'm at 27. I was like, how did you get 27 damage? And come to find out you can upgrade your weapon. So, and I didn't even realize that was a thing. And so like little things like that are just those little like, oh yes, it feels so good to like get this and like feel more powerful and just.
Also the idea of the shared thing. That's what it's a fucking beaten horse, but like that's the early. One of the things I loved about the early Quest landscape is just like, nobody really knows everything about this, and there's no like fucking encyclopedia you can look up on the internet. So we're all just kind of figuring this out together,
yeah.
and it's a cool feeling to have that. I don't know, that camaraderie search of knowledge.
Yeah. So if you were missing that from Hades, I do recommend checking out 33 Immortals. Check it out, and get your friends to play. It's better that way.
Word.
But yeah, outside of that, it's funny. I've been playing some random game with the kids, TD Bloons 6. It's like a tower defense game. It's such a silly game, man. You basically put all these like monkey characters around a map. Balloons come. You got to stop them. You're placing different traps.
You're saying balloons, right?
Yeah, but in the game, it's balloons, like BLOONS. But they're clearly balloons. But they're just balloons.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
Just like a kid's way of saying balloons. Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure we weren't saying blooms up, like flower blooms.
No, balloons. So okay. that's it's funny because it's a game that I bought a couple months ago, really to play with my youngest son, but me, him, and Zeke have been playing it together because it is couch co-op, up to 4 people. So that's been a fun game to kind of play with them from time to time. But outside of that, took your recommendation, downloaded No Man's Sky. And Courtney did as well. And so it's funny, like, because I beat Starfield, put 150 hours into that, and this feels similar to that, even though I know there are very much notable differences. Courtney's gotten far into it than me. Like, there's times when I'm playing 33 Immortals with the guys or something, or just kind of chilling out, playing a little Balatro on the side.
She's dedicating that time
and
to science.
She's sciencing it up.
She's
sciencing it up. So, like, she got ahead of me, so I had to catch back up. So we've been playing, the last couple weekends together, and it's cool. I like it. It feels like, though, that I'm playing Starfield with less of the quest stuff. And maybe that's just because, like, I'm doing, like, the basic stuff back and forth.
It is. I mean, yeah, the second you said Starfield, what I wanted to say, my instinctual response to that was, it is not a Bethesda game loop at all. Like,
yeah, I know.
You have a quest log, and honestly, I have that Bethesda fabric in me, so I am, like, trying to get my fucking quest log. Like, I can't.
Yeah,
the second page really.
The
second page of my quest log kills me that it's there. I need to get it down to at least one, because you have your 3 main quests up top there that are. I don't know if those are just like the 3 main ones. You can get more, or if it's just like those are like primary and then they're secondary. I'm not really sure how it divides it up in the quest log, but the secondary ones you're constantly getting shit. And even if you like get a new item, it'll pin the recipe and like encourage you to like get the new thing that you got the recipe for. You got to like, so I'm constantly pruning that down and trying to keep it to 1. So there is a quest log and there is shit like quests to do, but it's the exploration and just finding shit. And, there's just, again, like there's so many tangents. You're into it now, so you can hopefully see you've gotten that far, and it's just going to constantly add more. Like, I didn't embrace, like, I built a base, but I didn't go down the track of like, kind of like the tutorial track they want to get you on in the base building. So I was like, I had like gotten ahead of the tutorial basically, as far as like what I just done on my own. And eventually on this, when I get to my segment, I'll talk about it, but I go to this new planet and like, okay, I'm going to build a new base from scratch, and I start doing things, and you start like staffing your base with fucking specialists and stuff that do things and open up new technology tracks and things for you. And you got to, do fetch quests for them, get them materials so they can do these things. There's one that's military based, so he's like got a whole Sentinels fucking track that you're going out and trying to take down these big Sentinel bases. So there's all this shit basically that again, you'll find it later, and like what you think maybe the game is right now is probably not it, or even close to. And yeah, it just keeps adding new things on, and like, it fucking updated twice last week, which was annoying as fuck because it's a 21 gigabyte game, and you sit down to play, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to wait fucking an hour, even if my internet's cooking, to fucking play because it's gonna update twice in 1 week. I sent him a fucking tweet. I'm like, you guys gotta know that updating this game twice in 1 week is not okay. You gotta know that. Like, as big as it is, that's not okay. It takes too fucking long to update, guys. Whatever. But yeah, they added the bones shit, the ancient bone. It's like they have this fossils thing, which included, like, now there's, like, you build these, it's like Animal Crossing, basically, but, of course, more science-y, and more, it's not as, Animal Crossing, they're very defined, like, it's, well, definitely not as cutesy either, but it's like, Animal Crossing's like, you're building Tyrannosaurus Rex, or an actual dinosaur on Earth, whatever. This is not that. You, like, can make your own. There's like 5 components. There's like the skull, the torso, and then the legs. Each of the legs, or the 2 different types of legs, and then the tail. And you can build your own, there's a million different variables, types of each one, and you can build your own bone specimens that you can upload to the. That's the thing too. Like, there's all this database. Like, they're actually trying to build. I don't know if it's. I don't know if it's like somewhere you can go look at or something, but like every time you find a creature on any planet, there's a whole like add it to the database thing that I found probably in the last 2 weeks or week or two also, where you like upload it and then it becomes like a filed away thing that exists in the universe that theoretically the way it's portrayed, and again, I don't know how to check and balance this or if it's just whatever, a gimmick. But, like, the idea is that it's adding to the encyclopedia of the universe, is the idea. And that you get paid for that information, and that's, of course, cool. It's like, it's basically a way to earn money, is to go out and explore. So it actually financially incentivizes you within the game's economy, of course. Right. Not real money, unfortunately. To explore and discover new things, and catalog these things, and, like, do science, basically. But this also applies to the bones, and like you can upload to the database, like this is a creature, and it'll name it, and it's like a science. I mean, it does that with all of them. They're like science-based names that I don't know how they can possibly. There's got to be. I don't know how it can all be unique. There's just too many things, so there's got to be some repetition. You'll notice eventually if you're paying attention. But that applies to the bones too. You can upload to the database, and then you can build your own and like make them base decorations. These fucking. It's just, so again, that's just like something that's brand new. And like they just added that within the last couple weeks. It's like a whole new just tangent activity. And I'm sure there'll be quests that get built on top of it and stuff too. They're super excited about it. You can tell. It's like one of those things. You get the update and you open it up and it's like, ooh, the fossil thing. Like, check this out, guys. So they're excited about it. So I'm sure they'll do extra shit with it.
See, all the stuff you're describing and even the stuff that you talked about previously, it just sounds cool. Like it tells me that there's so much more out there, but it's just hard for me to just like keep going right now. Like I got my base going and I'm like, all right, what do I have to do next? Like, it's just a lot of
I told you it's paralyzing. There's too, and like you just said yourself, I haven't heard of any of these things. So you feel paralyzed and don't know what to do now with a more limited option set. It's going to get way bigger, dude, way bigger. And yeah, you got to be like, that sounds fun. I'm going to go do that, and I'm just not going to worry about that other shit. And if, like, something presents itself as a reason to engage that thing, great. But that's exactly how I didn't get down that base track, is I wasn't pushing on every wall, I was fucking just like, okay, I got into my little loop of the things I was, whatever, excited about or working on, and didn't pay attention to something that opened up this super cool new thing and, like, a whole new landscape of options and things to do that I do want to engage, So Yeah, maybe that's something that you have to learn the hard way, I guess, to, that you do want to maybe do a mission that you don't want to do, or a thing you don't want to do. Which is fine. Right, yeah.
I just feel like everything's so limited right now. It's like, what are we doing? I'm just like kind of back and forth looking for materials to do the base building stuff. Like, I will say, I'm glad that I have a base because I was tired of getting like acid rained on like all
the first time. Okay, so you started on Toxic Planet 2. Me too. That I almost quit the game when I first started because I didn't understand how to stop that. And I was I knew that they tell you that the sodium fixes that.
Yeah. I just kept mining for sodium over and over, and I was like, I can't, like, what is the solution?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And they also tell you that you can build, and this isn't spoilers, so I'll tell you, you can build a cave, right? You can just you can just shoot all.
I've done it just because I go into the cave, like stuff flying at me, and so I ended up like just burrowing.
Exactly. Yeah. But that also stops the in that case toxic. Yeah. But this applies to all the planets, the cold planets or the heat planet, whatever it is. It alleviates whatever hazard environment to do that too. And I did not get that for so long. So yeah, when I first started, I was fucking pissed, dude, because I died a few times when I first started. Like, I was like, how can that be like a constant drain and I can't find any sodium? Like, what the fuck? Yeah, that's probably the last time that I yelled at the game. It was like right when I first started. I was like, what in the fuck kind of system is this?
Yeah, one of the first things we did, or that I did, I was like, all right, I need to be able to scan. Give me the freaking ability. I'll follow whatever thing you need me to do to get the ability to see all the resources. So once I could do that, it's like, all right, sodium here, carbon here. All right, I know what I'm grabbing. I was golden after that.
And dude, that's the. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's like so layered that this is like a constant development, but like one of the cool, like I don't worry about it. You don't have to worry about that shit. That's like
well, right
now,
it's like at least it feels like.
Well, I know exactly. That's what I mean. It's like the difference between early game priorities and as you go, your priorities change and what you have to worry about changes because your technology changes. And again, just like I was saying, counter to Hades, this development of what you are, what you're capable of, and what you are. You obviously get different vehicles and like. You add that the fucking upgrade tree shit for your exosuit and your goddamn multi-tool. And your Starship too, of course, and then all the fucking vehicles you can get is fucking insane and limitless. So, like, there's just so much customization possibility of... Yeah, like, I mean, the scanning is a great example. Like, it's annoying to have to hit the button, and you can only do it ever so often, and there's an upgrade you can get to let you do it faster, or more often, I should say, so you can rerun the scan. But like, I got to the point now where like I don't even need to do that. Like I got technology where I don't have to deal with that, at all. So like, yeah, it does a good job of showing you, I guess, making you feel the basic survival needs, and then giving you options to upgrade your life and get rid of them if you don't want to deal with that. You know what I mean? And the thing is, it's a trade-off because you only have so many slots in your shit. And like, you could upgrade that and get more, but one, that's expensive, time-consuming, and again, there's so many options that you still, even like, I have a million fucking slots on my exosuit, but it's still, I'm out at all times. I'm always out of room. I always have to make a choice between maybe this convenience thing and this necessity thing, and like it does a good job of constantly pushing you up against the wall there. So you still have to make decisions. It doesn't become OP, I guess, is maybe the simpler way to say that. Okay. So
it's funny to me that like the upgrades, like hearing you talk about it too, like upgrade trees when they're done right, it's like chef kiss. Like ever since, like I feel like all of my gaming life comes down to, or really changed, when games had the ability for you to get like upgraded throughout a game. Like for me, it started with like Knights of the Round and Super Nintendo. I mean, really, if you want to take it like way back, technically Mario, when he gets flower powers and all those powers, is like him upgrading, but those can be lost. But like games like Knights of the Round and then forward, where
that's this game, you can lose them in this game too. Like I told you, when you die, like shit gets broken, and it can be fixed. You can get fixed. But you gotta go get the resources to fix it. It's fucking, when you get shit, once you have those things, you are emotionally dependent on them. When they are taken from you, it fucking hurts, man. So, yeah, it's yes.
Oh, man.
Yes, but no.
As far as it
relates to this game, I should say.
I don't like the idea of that.
I mean, like I said, it's always fixable, but you have to do the work to fix them.
Okay.
And the amount of work that takes is dependent on maybe what it is and what resources are required to do it. And you aren't necessarily going to have the resources to fix something, especially if you find some about it ass thing that is new and is built with, because you can get blueprints to build things from scratch for yourself, or you can luck into just getting the modules.
Right.
Or find them a way to acquire the modules at the store or whatever it may be. So there's like two ways to get to new technology. And if you just get the module, which is easy and more appealing, of course, not the blueprint, it may be something that you don't have access to, or you don't know where it is, or you haven't found it, or you don't have enough of it, or whatever it is, so yeah, that can be like, I've had a few things like break on me or get fucked up in a battle or whatever it might be, and then I don't have the thing to get it back to operational status, and it's like, oh fuck, and then you're in like a 5-alarm scramble to find that new resource wherever it is. But it's a testament to the cool, because then you start like, I'm sciencing my ass off now. Like I'm like exploring, because there's only so many planets. So you find a new resource and you're like, okay, how have I not found that yet? It's not like there's any kind of planet I haven't seen. But one, there's so many things on each planet. Like I said, you're never going to completely consume a whole planet in its entirety, let alone all the little minutiae things on it. So there's that aspect of it, but also there's compound resources. You eventually you'll get you have the conversion thing. I forget. I can't think. I'm spacing on what it's called. But the thing you put down and it turns one resource into another.
Yep.
Right. So you get later, if you haven't had it yet, there's more advanced ones of those that can combine 2 and then 3 things into one new resource. So obviously, those are more complicated things. And one, you got to find the formula. You can just push it in there, and if you get it right, the new thing will come out. But I mean, guessing, there's a lot of variables, so you can't just guess every new thing, So you got to like find something to teach you that in some way, shape, or form to get those more advanced things, So again, just levels to levels, dude. There's levels to levels. It's fucking on a whole different wavelength, I think. Of complexity for that. Yeah.
So a lot going on, but I got to be in the right mood.
So you're still you've left the planet, right?
I've left the planet to go up to like the shopping place. Like I just like
the space station.
Space station, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so I got like some stuff there, but now I can't buy any more stuff because I'm out of resources. So plus the quest stuff told me to just go back to the planet to do more science stuff. So I left the planet and then came back to the same planet. So I don't even think I've been to a different planet yet. So.
Oh God, jeez, it's like Subnautica. I envy the naivety to some degree.
But that also scares me because it feels like I'm staring down like hundreds of hours of gameplay ahead of me, and I'm like, I don't know if I can sink all that into this game. That feels daunting. We shall see.
It's not. Honestly, that's one of the things I like most about it is, I guess I haven't said it in this exact way, but all that, like, you got to make a choice, and there's so many things like it. Once you kind of internalize that there is no end, you're not going to get. I mean, obviously there's an end to these main quests of some kind, but it's not. You're never going to get to the end. There is no end. It's infinite. So it's not about that. It's about just living your if you enjoy being in that world, just finding a way to spend time in that world when you want to spend time in it. And it's not like, oh, I have hundreds of hours to go. Like, I don't know, if you stop feeling like you want to be in it, like, yeah, maybe you'll have that, oh, I didn't check these things off the list thing that maybe I'm going to convince myself to come back at some time. But, honestly, those are the things, I barely fuck with them. And I'm not that way. I'm usually like, get the quest done. Like those main things, like every now and again, I'll sit there paralyzed and I'll be like, oh, I'm just going to go fucking do one of these things and see what happens, because again, I know it could open up something maybe that I don't even know about yet. So that is honestly what encourages me to do it more than like getting down the fucking track of completing that main quest line. It's more about just what will this show me and teach me or show me or open up to me than completing quests. So
fascinating. Yeah,
it's not about that, Jay. It's not about that.
We shall see.
So good. We got to figure out how to fucking should do it. I don't have anything to do today. We should fucking get in there and fucking after the kids go to bed or something, fucking do a group science endeavor.
Sounds good to me. I'm down.
Come to your planet. I'll bring my exo.
Your crazy tech to my primitive.
Yeah, I'll bring my crazy tech to your planet and do some mine. Show you how to mine the right way.
Cool.
All right, word. Well, it's good to hear that you engaged it and got rolling.
Yeah. Well, that's it, man. What about you? What else have you been jamming on?
Not much besides that. Maybe the most coolest thing, I guess, about that, other than a lot of the shit I guess we've already talked about, is I told you I went and found a new base. So that was what happened. Like the gateway drug to it is I went to this planet, and like I said, I started on that same type of planet. I don't think everyone starts on a toxic planet like that. I think it varies, but I think everyone does start on a hazardous planet, like with some sort of thing.
Sense.
So just, to teach you about like
what to
cost
do,
benefit analysis and to be in strife, early on, yada, yada. So I go to off whatever reason I'm fucking bouncing around the galaxy to do something. And I go into this planet and it's like, it actually did have storms that were still heated. So it did have hazardous elements to it, but like the base condition for it was just utopia-ish-y. So I was like, oh my God, this is so much more pleasant to be in.
Yeah.
Just visually and operationally, and it had like actual water. The toxic one does your toxic planet have you found any like liquid water?
Have I found water? I don't think
so. My home toxic planet had none. Yeah. Which sucks. And this place had water, so that was cool. So whatever. I'm like, so the first time I'm like fucking going down in the water and like kind of exploring that. And I was like, that's of course cool. It was cooler at first. It's not quite. The water shit is not quite Subnautica tier. I mean,
not quite.
The whole game.
That's quite the bar.
Subnautica. They did that. The whole game is based around being in water, so the water looks and feels perfect. All the physics. They spent time and effort to make the aquatic environment feel like it should, and they have not achieved that with No Man's Sky. It still feels a little. Because you're not even, you're still like a dude with a jetpack. So it's like, it's kind of, I don't know how to describe it. It's like,
does it break the physics?
I get, that's exactly. It doesn't feel like you're swimming, which I guess if you have a jetpack, it's not supposed to. But maybe I just want Subnautica and I'm not getting it.
Yeah, you did give heavy Subnautica references last time, so that's
right. So it looks cool and like. The biology is cool down there and different and whatever, but it feels like a dude that just has some like slightly different friction than above water. I don't know. It does not feel maybe like I want it to feel oceany, but again, you can probably get to rationalizations why that should be the case.
Okay.
Anyways, so I find that planet and engage that a little bit and I'm like, well, fuck that. I need to go. Like, I've been thinking about it anyways. Like, do I want to fucking go to another planet? I can go anywhere. Like, why am I staying on this? Why am I keeping my base on this shitty, miserable, toxic planet? Like, why am I doing it? So I've been thinking that forever. It's just because you have all your shit there and you're like, you don't want to fucking lose your shit.
Start it all over again or something.
Right. So I had that experience and that burrows into my mind. Like, I'm start looking. I'm going to start house hunting, fucking looking for a new place. And then I do this other thing and I land on this planet that is what's behind me now. And it actually does also have storms. Heated storms, but there's always a rainbow in the sky. It's like the fucking sunsets are beautiful. And like when I first I fly into the fucking place and I thought that it was like a completely covered water planet. And I just found this little island, in every direction, all I could see was ocean. I later found there are land masses. Like there's like this Pangea landmass on the other side of the planet, basically. But I thought it was just like a cute little island in this massive ocean. And the oceans are fucking crazy. I don't know if you can see it in the picture, but there's like these big crystals that stick up out of the ocean. Can you see any of that shit?
Yeah,
or no? Okay, yeah. So like even the water above ground looks cool and then the sun sets and it's just ocean every direction. It's just fucking gorgeous. A gorgeous place to exist. And there's just a handful of cute ass animals that were on that island. So I was like, this is it. Plant my flag. This is where I'm living. And fucking, so you put the base computer down and here we go. So I'm building a new base from scratch. So yeah, it was just, and again, this game is beautiful because like that's random generation and just like, I just stumbled into that. It's not like, that's not on the fucking roadmap that the game makes for you or anything. That's just, I just stumbled into it and it was there. And I planted my flag, and now it's mine, And now I come home to that every day. And it's just fucking beautiful, cool. Beautiful way for a game to exist and work and whatever. So that, just really fucking cool. And that allowed me to really get into the base building mechanics below water, which are a completely different technology tree. And there's even, I know there's I haven't even built it yet, but there's a fucking submarine vehicle that is down the road for me to engage at some point. to fuck around more with the ocean stuff. So that is all something, even as much as I played, is completely untapped. But also building a base from scratch, knowing a lot more about base building mechanics too. So like I have like, I'll send you my base fucking, because you can go into your base computer and take like a picture of the base, right? So, and you can upload those too. And you'll find it eventually, but there's another kind of thing that you'll find that is a story based whatever. And it's kind of another hub. It's basically the multiplayer hub, and you'll find that eventually. But at the multiplayer hub, there's you find a thing that's kind of like a base Hall of Fame kind of thing. And it's like, I haven't really engaged it, but you upload your base, and I think you can vote on people's bases, and like the top bases get populated into this computer in the hub, and I think you can go visit them, and just like, because they're in the Hall of Fame that week or whatever, and go visit their cool ass base, which is just a cool ass, just dumb, again, like so many other things, just a dumbass cool side tangent that you can do just to go check out other people's cool shit, that they fucking are massive architecture fucking feats within the game. But yeah, building base from scratch, knowing much more, I, do things differently, of course, and more efficiently, and it looks cooler, and blah, 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 blah. And like, it was like an extension. My original base, I had like I built it out of the wood, because I think the wood looks the best of all the stone, wood, and metal alloy things. And there's also prefab rooms that are kind of more like Subnautica. They're just like science, whatever. But the wood one looks the best, so that's what I've been building everything out of. So I have like my, where I live, and it's just whatever, cool shit, decorations, the fucking jukebox thing you can get, playing crazy ass songs that you can make your own songs in the game, and like
what?
Change this. It's just again, just infinite, dude. Infinite amount of shit to fuck with. So I got that, and then I got like a rooftop patio where I put like a few choice things and like a place I can sit out.
Barbecue up there.
Yeah. Eventually, I probably can get one of those. Actually, it'll be up there if I can, and sit out, watch the sunset up there if you want. That's honestly maybe my biggest bitch is Subnautica. You could sit down, you could use the bed, you can't do that in this. Like they're just decorations. You can't really engage a lot of this stuff in a way that I think they should spend time to allow you to engage. Particularly just sitting down, for fuck's sake. It should be allowed, And Subnautica was cool. It doesn't have Subnautica, because you're draining your water. If you're playing survival, you have food and water intake needs. So when you sit down in Subnautica, it would pause that. So you could sit down if you want to like sit and play on your iPad or whatever and do fucking some sort of organizational thing or figure out some navigation shit. But you could sit down and you don't have the drain on your resources while that's happening, which is just a cool, unique, or cool thing, I think. This doesn't have that. So sure, it wouldn't have a function that's helpful in that same way. But you still, again, if you're fucking living in this world, you want to sit down and watch a sunset, and you can't do that in this, and that sucks, I think. So hopefully they fix that eventually. But whatever, so that's like the residential thing. And then I have like, my original base, I just built like a little garage to put my fucking power tools in, It's like literally a stone slab with some 4 stone walls and a fucking normal roof on it. And it was literally, I put it like it's got the power door, and it literally looks like a garage door. It was like my garage out back where I had all my power tools, So I had that at the other base. And this one, I start this, and same thing. I don't want to put all my loud ass machinery in my dome base. So naturally. I start a garage, but eventually shit starts happening, and one little slab is not enough. So you gotta fucking expand the garage. So now I have like an industrial complex where like all my base staff, my scientist, my overseer, my fucking military dude, my farmer dude, and then all the hydroponic farms, and it's like a whole industrial complex that is like, it looks like it's it's like all built from stone, whereas my house is all built from wood, and it's just like visually different on top of its functional difference, So yeah, the customization's off the fucking wall, dude. But been engaging the shit out of that on the new planet. So a lot of that, and then I did dip into the radius one time. And I basically just need to be more aggressive with my time there. Like I went in there and I did some bullshit, and I was right up against the fucking tide still. So I just did some random ass bullshit and then went back to the base. And I was thinking to myself, like, I gotta just strap on a pair when I come back here and do the big missions. I gotta just get over my fear, and otherwise I'm going to fall off this game if I don't really start engaging the true progress of it. So I felt that, and felt the need to rejigger my approach to it, because yeah, you go in there and you can totally just let yourself be like, I can't deal with that right now. I'm just going to do this little tiny safe thing and then go back to the base and let another day pass, you know? But like, you'll never get anywhere with that approach. So I gotta grow a pair.
Man up,
really,
Josh.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the deal with that. It still exists, but I need to change my approach. Okay. And then my X-Men quest, so we can get out of here. I just hit 190.
Oh.
So yeah, so I got, I told you, I found a piracy solution for that gap between 185 and 201, which was not on Internet Archive. So I was worried I was going to have to subscribe to Marvel Unlimited or something, but I found this piracy thing, so I don't have to do that. It is a huge pain in the ass. Like, all this fucking pop-up shit I gotta deal with, additional browser tabs. It sometimes will open fucking YouTube on its own. I gotta close the YouTube app for some of these fucking things. It's so bad. It's the worst part. It's so bad. Such a bad fucking thing to deal with. But I'm a fucking soldier, Jay. I'm not giving Disney any money for old shit they'll never in a fucking million years give money to the artists for, so they can go fuck themselves. I'll close the fucking YouTube app, and I'll close the browser tabs, and I'll close the pop-ups, and then I'll click the button to go to the next page. It's literally, you gotta click a thing twice, actually. The first time you click it, it won't work. You gotta click the button twice to go to the next page of each fucking comic. So it's so much work, and I'm still willing to do it rather than give them even whatever 1 month of Marvel Unlimited would be to get access to this shit. Wow. So that's going on. Anyhow, the 180s is where, so Storm loses her powers. Oh. And she, like, going off and canoodling with Forge before she decides, she just actually left, going into 190, she leaves. So I don't know, fucking retire or something, I don't know. She said she's going back to Africa, where her mom raised her or something, is her plan. So that's what was going on. And it's cool, too, because X-Men 97 got into that. That was like towards the tail end of the season, I think. That was the storyline, basically, is her losing her powers. I think, I can't remember in the fucking show if she lost it the same way, getting popped by that gun from the Senator, Riker, or whatever the fuck his name is, or if there was some other way she lost it and they kind of tweaked that a little bit. But either way, it's getting into... That is a result of them getting into that big storyline with the dickhead senator trying to get the bill passed and all that. And that is what early, like the original animated series back in the 90s, that is what like the first few episodes were about. And I've always been really piqued by that. It's just like the whole Sentinels, that's where the Sentinels come from. And it's, that whole, the fucking political agenda to enslave the mutants, essentially, has always been a really interesting storyline to me that I haven't read. So I'm pretty stoked about that kind of firing up, Yeah,
when you said 190, I'm like, oh, I remember this, all that stuff, like the covers. I'm looking up the covers right now, like, oh, I remember that. I hate the Sentinels so much. I was actually playing Marvel vs. Capcom 2 with Zeke the other day. We were having some good battles. And he kept playing with the Sentinel, and I made it my mission to educate him. I'm like, I understand this is a game, and we're just choosing random characters, but fuck the Sentinel. Do you understand that? Hunt the mutants. I will make it my mission to never let up on you when you're.
I mean, easily. The reason the X-Men is interesting is because of these parallels to fucking. Marvel's so much better than DC. It's not even fucking like the last issue they were down on the seaport in Manhattan. Like they actually, they're actually in real places in Manhattan. That is so much more interesting than a totally mythical place. That's some of the I don't know why anyone would not do that. It's so much more relatable and interesting. Like fucking. That's the Tarantino movies. I'm not really the biggest Tarantino fan, but like Inglourious Basterds was fucking amazing because he took like this incredibly well-known historical event and just like did what he wanted with it, and like that's so interesting, to have the balls to take something that everyone thinks they know everything about and be like, nope, this is a whole new thing that actually happened in my little universe, and you're going to sit here for 2 hours and ride with it, So that's what they're doing when they do this stuff. With X-Men here, and that's so much more interesting than whatever the fuck would happen in Metropolis or Gotham City or whatever.
Yeah.
Really cool. And then, yeah, I mean, the X-Men's period, again, their whole thing is with the political, and I'm not even a political person, really. Politics don't interest me, but the parallels that they try to do with it are, again, so much more, I don't know, relatable and interesting than other superhero bullshit. So, very stoked about the direction of that. I'm looking forward to two things. Looking forward to getting back to 201, where I can go back to Internet Archive's normal ass fucking comics so I can do this website. But two, also the storyline. I'm glad I'm where I'm going as well.
Area 1 theme, the Paleozoic era from Dragon Spirit, bringing us into this episode.
The new legend, Jay. Don't forget that fucking, what do you call that? A surname,
the tagline,
whatever.
The new legend. Yeah. Was there an old legend? Are we missing? Where's the old legend?
I don't think so. That's the funny thing. About? Yeah. There's no. We'll get into history, I suppose, but I would be curious to hear if you found some because it didn't. No. I could not find any pre-existing IP or anything that would have been an old legend either.
Yeah.
So,
what are we talking about?
Well, I mean, and even like we'll talk about it in the box cover, but the box cover looks like it's from an animated series of the time, like that style of, So I expected there to be like a manga or Japanese. Animated something or other, but no, I couldn't find anything. So
dude looks like a freaking cartoon elf. I was like, what are we looking at here? It totally looks like a 80s character.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know. For years now, the Kingdom of Olympia has enjoyed a wonderful period of peace. Even the fearful tale of the King Amru's heroic battle with the demon Zawal, had been long forgotten by his happy subjects. And when Amru's marriage to Alicia was blessed with the birth of the royal twins, Lace and Iris, the kingdom took it as a sign that the fates were looking favorably upon them. But little did they know that far to the east, the wicked Galda had been amassing an army of evil, the likes of which could not be imagined in the blackest thoughts of mankind. Even the fearsome Zawal had been resurrected from the dead to join the murderous cause. Suddenly, without a warning, Galda had struck, kidnapping the Princess Iris and her attending maids for a sacrificial offering to the ceremony of the dark. As Amru lay helplessly on his deathbed, he knew there was but one hope for rescuing his beloved daughter and saving the kingdom from total destruction. He must reveal the secret of the magical sword of Arlia to his son, Prince Lace. The mighty spirit of the Blue Dragon must rise again. Please read this instruction booklet carefully to ensure proper handling of your new game. Save the booklet for future reference. And that last blurb, that fourth wall breaking last blurb, is not canon in the story universe. It is just a couple of sentences at the end of the story text that there's no differentiation from whatsoever. So you have like the synopsis page in the manual, all that shit about story, and just like the next paragraph, no fucking any lines or page break, nothing, no reason to differentiate it from everything you just read. Those two sentences, and it's just a very interesting layout choice, Bandai. But I laughed my ass off when I fucking read that, and there was just no difference to it whatsoever.
Oh man,
yeah. What kind of game?
This is a vertical scrolling flying shooter. Typical of the kinds that I like. And it's funny because this is also the same company that made Xevious, a game I fucking loved on the Atari 7800. And so seeing that, I'm like, okay, this is cool. The funny thing is, actually, no, I'll hold that.
Okay, yeah. You got history? Okay.
Get ahead of myself.
Yeah, it's excited. I understand that you're excited. It's okay. The release was June 1990 stateside after a 4/14/89 Famicom release, and there was a June 87 release of the arcade predecessor in Japan as well. And maybe the most impressive thing about this game is that nothing about it feels like a 1987 flying shmup, It does not feel like, what was it? there was something maybe Marble Madness. I don't know because I like Marble Madness, but there was something we just fucked with. And I was like, oh my God, you can feel. Oh, the touchdown fever. That's what it was. I was like, you can feel this is from whatever the fuck year it was from. You can feel that in it.
Yeah.
And there's been so many instances where you get these arcade ports that happen in the fucking early to mid 80s. And then we get a 1991 a home port. And it's like, what? Who was sitting around like, we need to bring this 5-year-old game forward to the NES, Yeah. So the potential for that was here, but I don't think it felt like that at all. And that is to be noted, I think, right from the fucking get-go. And I applaud it for that. So we've done 1990 June happenings. We're not fucking doing any more of those. So now you can tell us about, or I guess I got to talk artwork. We can't figure out the flow of this fucking, the beginning of this episode. This is episode 111. Over 50-something game episodes. And we can't figure out how to fucking do the opening segment of it.
The funny thing is there's just not a lot with this game. And so, like, I feel like we're talking about, or we're going to talk about the same things, because when I was researching this, I first just put in Dragon Spirit to your point, and that's why I didn't put in the new Legend thing, because I just did Dragon Spirit, and I was just researching the 1987 game, and I'm like, okay, so
does that not have the new Legend?
No, it does not. It's just Dragon Spirit.
Okay. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There we answered our own question.
Exactly. So it ran on the Namco.
With our historical analysis, Jay. Look at us fucking. We're doing our own science here.
Well, I'm telling you, because I looked it up in first paragraph. I'm reading it all right, distributed by Atari, developed by Namco, ran on Namco System 1 board, whatever. So this old. But then I'm like, wait a minute. I kept reading and realized it was followed by 2 sequels, and that first sequel is Dragon Spirit, the new Legend, the one that we're playing.
Oh, okay.
And when I went to actually research it, I realized our game, the new Legend, is just a remixed port of Dragon Spirit. So that's why.
But there is an arcade, the new Legend, that is a different game.
No, just Dragon Spirit, the arcade game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Copy.
Exactly.
Okay.
So yeah, the NES version is a remixed port of that. And that's why it's kind of...
There are differences?
I didn't actually look at the differences. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty... Well,
and we use that one Magic track that is stage 6.
Yeah.
Glacier, so it's got to be pretty similar.
Yeah, very close, very close. I think the beginning, clearly, I don't think there's the thing that we get into that happens at the beginning.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, they did what all the successful games of the time did, right? They found an arcade game and they're like, ooh, let's bring that to the NES, but, let's zhuzh it up a bit.
Yeah. Well, any Nintendo probably requiring them to. Remember, that's the fucking thing there.
Exactly.
You got to tweak it. That's how we got that Double Dragon shit.
Yep.
Word. Okay. The cover art, we already talked about it a little bit, but it's a very eye-catching gold background, blue, orange, yellow foreground, illustration motif going on with it. The art depicts a sword-wielding human hero, not a dragon, and this dude has blue armor on, which there's wings on the shoulder pads and the helmet.
Right, it can't be
his
a
armor.
cape. Yeah, it's like flying out too far.
Right. So yeah, it must be, once he was going to become Blue Dragon, that must be the fit they gave him, the fucking something to embody that a little bit when he was in human form. So good for the wardrobe department at King whatever fucking Amru's castle. A princess stands atop a mountain surrounded by active volcanoes in the background, and there's an evil set of magical eyes in front of her, as any fantasy-themed box cover of the time will have. That's a Wizards and Warriors thing going on. Like, you always get those evil eyes, representing the whatever big baddie. And yeah, the art style is very much animated fucking series of the time. So I just, again, cannot stress how shocked I am that there's not some sort of comic or something for this is fucking furthering or touching on the story.
Catch on. So we got something right here. You can visualize it.
Just never got around to it. The pitch, they didn't have a good pitch maybe over at fucking whatever that, I can't think of the fucking production company that did all those fucking, G.I. Joe and that did all those, whatever company, I can't think of the name that did those. The pitch must have went poorly over at their HQ. So the title treatment's up top, and it is a very cool blue-yellow font that works in the blue dragon sitting atop of it, and his tail snakes through the hole in the P, which is really nice, cool touch, I think. Some depth and what have you. The back of the box has 4 screenshots, including one incredibly cinematic deal of the gold dragon taking flight off a mountaintop, and that's probably the best pixel art in the game, so smart choice there. You can actually get it with the blue or gold dragon, but this is the gold instance. And the copy is just a synopsis blurb from the manual, verbatim, so they shorted us on some original marketing department copywriting there, but what are you going to do? The manual is 20 pages, color cover, black and white innards for the most part, but they do spend a few extra pennies on reproduction costs by sprucing it up with some blue dragon-colored highlights to elevate the aesthetic a hair. So, not quite totally black and white, so a little bit of extra effort. Page 5 explains a very unique and I think cool game difficulty mode selection flowchart, which you were touching on not being an arcade game. The first thing after starting the game, you are presented a starter pack level to play as the Blue Dragon, where you will face off with Sewell at the end. And if you defeat Sewell, you will proceed to play the game in Blue Dragon mode, which is like normal difficulty, and the way you can actually play the whole game. If Sewell folds you, or you die before Sewell, which would be really impressive given what that level is, you will play the game as the Gold Dragon, which is a baby nut kid brother mode, basically. The page 11 later in the manual explains that Gold Dragon mode only allows you to play through level 5, so you can't beat the game playing as the Gold Dragon in this easier mode.
Dude.
Are you going to tell me that you played the game in Gold Dragon mode?
No, I almost did. So the funny thing was, when I first started it up, like, because we would text each other, I was like, I'm just going to, like, mess around with it the first level, you know, like, just to kind of get the feel of it before I, like, you know, start an actual playthrough.
Before I batten down the hatches.
Right. So I was just kind of, like, rushing through any kind of story sequence. And so I kind of skipped through what was happening first. And then I was like, oh, but I kind of want to watch that because I don't want to do that multiple times. You know, it was kind of like, yeah, I could do it on the next run, but what if I'm awesome right now? You know, so I kind of was like, all right. So I got hit and I was like, all right, I'm done. And so it started the sequence of
takes you back to the thing.
It was there's a dream, but I was like, let me just reset because that's what I wanted to do anyway. And so I went through the next time, made it all the way through, didn't get hit, you know, and made Blue Dragon. So I realized, because the funny thing is, when I read the manual, I literally stopped at page 4 because I was like, yeah, because I started reading this and I was like, yeah, I know how to play, yeah, okay, and I actually didn't read that part, and it wasn't until later that I realized, oh snap. If I had...
it's super unique and just a really so cool crazy way to do it, you know? Yeah. So obviously just so much better than just giving you a menu on the title screen, normal or easy. Like, They're just so much cooler, you know? Even, I mean, I guess, like, the one counter is, like, you're wasting, kind of just wasted time, I guess, you know? But, it teaches you the mechanics. I don't know. I don't know how you could... I don't know why more games didn't do something like that.
And it wasn't bad. Like, I thought... when I thought through this, that maybe the drawback would be like, what if you just made a mistake and now you're stuck in this weak mode? But I literally did it on my second try. So, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of you gotta be really bad to not finish that fucking thing, you know? I guess the battle against Zoel is like a little hair of challenge, but dying in that level, there's like 4 flying enemies. And then it's just a feeder tube for power-ups, as the whole level is. And it's a super short even at that. So, yeah, you got to just be really fucking off for bad video games.
Yeah.
Page 6 explains the life meter and the HUD, and the Blue Dragon gets 3 life units, and the Gold gets 6. So, big difference there, of course. Crazy. And it's also explained here you get 2 continue opportunities after running out of lives. They dedicate 4 pages, 7 through 10, on explain the power-up systems and pickups, which is the appropriate attention to pay to power-ups in a flying shmup. 4 pages of a 20-page manual, basically 20% of the fucking thing. And you will come across red and blue pods on the ground, both of which can be destroyed with your ground attack. Blue pod items will add 1 extra head to your sprite, up to level 3. Red pod items increase your air attack power, up to level 3. And both are reduced by a level when you take damage. So if you get hit, it takes you back down a notch. Killing flashing enemies will provide various power-ups you can grab. They can provide the same thing that comes out of the pods. And they can also, there's a turbocharger, which increases your flight speed. There's a sweeping fire, which is a spread attack. There is a flame enhancer, which jumps you right to level 3 attack power, skips the intermediary bullshit. There is a shrinker, which makes your sprite smaller and thereby harder to hit. And they note to be careful about picking up blue items here, adding a head returns you to your normal size, and you lose the shrink mode. Basically.
Which always seems stupid to me. Like, I didn't even want the shrink. Like, whenever I got the shrink on accident, I'd be mad. Like, this is terrible. Like, I don't want to be tiny.
There are some places where... There's one in particular instance where it happened and I was like, this is helpful.
Okay, I could see...
environmental stuff,
yeah,
you know.
I could see that, like on level 5.
So that's the idea there. But yeah, a lot of times you'll get it and it just fucks with you. It fucks with something that you have going that's all powered up to some degree.
Yeah.
You know? 'Cause yeah, it'll change it'll obviously you lose a head when you do it, you know, or you lose your extra heads. Yeah. So
I went from 3 heads and now I'm like tiny and little. I'm like, no, this is whack. Right. I don't want this. I will navigate with my 3-head power. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, well, it's just some trade-off, you know. Not everything's great. Not everything's all fucking rainbows and fucking whatever in life or dragon spirit. There are dual dragons, which are little buddy dragons that appear on your flanks and attack simultaneously with your shots. And like you can actually get those, I think, can pair with the shrinker. So you can be tiny and have those. And then you get your...
I never got that.
Multi-thing, I think. You never had the dual dragons or the combination
no.
You're saying?
The combination of tiny and...
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like that was a possibility. I feel like that happened at times. It's hard to... I mean, I'll talk about it, but there's so much shit and so many... It's constantly changing and there's so many different things that I never really grasped like, I could, you know, like, yes, I read the manual, and I see, okay, 3 steps to the fucking heads and the power to you, and all these different things. But, like, in the game, I couldn't process, like, okay, that orb is flying at me. When I pick that up, I know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
I never got there.
So, okay.
There's just too much.
I'm glad it wasn't just me, because I felt the same thing. I was like, what? Why does, like, they weren't clear enough for me to know, except I knew which ones I could grab, and after a while, I was like, I'm absolutely not grabbing.
After a while, exactly. I got to grab those skull ones, exactly, yeah. I eventually learned that, but it took me a while to even get there, and yeah, I never fully knew what was going to happen, or even, not even what was going to happen. Well, I guess it's kind of the same thing, but, like, there's a fucking tree to it. There's an upgrade tree, like, the white dragon and like different head, like it changes and there's different things, and I didn't necessarily understand the steps of each one of them either.
Same.
Other than the obvious thing that more heads is more things, but yeah, I didn't always understand what would cause what and yada yada. So
and you don't really have time to like pause it and be like, let me go look at the mail. Like, I'm not dual screening, you know?
Right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. And even if I was, I wouldn't be able to do that. So I wouldn't be able to look over at it. So yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's not, you know, there are very few situations where you're like, you pick something up and you're like, oh, that was a bad development. Yeah. It's not like you're constantly getting fucked like some of these shmups will do to you with that, where like the upgrades are so different that there are ones that, even if it's not maybe, it's like Contra is, I guess, a great example of this. Like, the laser is a pain in the ass for most people. But there are some people who like it because it is more powerful. Yeah. You know? Like, you can't shoot as fast, but it does do more damage. Give me the S
right. any day.
Exactly. Precisely, right. Most people are of that ilk. But it's varied enough where you can have a personal preference, you know? It's not like that. It's all pretty much good. And if you go from one to the other, like, I think the green is does a little more damage, and it's more persistent. Honestly, a little more laser-like, you know, but it's not so slow.
But I wasn't upset if I got the white one instead. I was like, all right, I'm going wider now, but it's all right, it's good.
Exactly.
And then I eventually got the green back anyway, so I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah. So there is the Power Wing, which is invincibility. There is the Fire Dragon, which it's a timed thing, and it creates a wide barrier. I don't know if I ever got that. Yeah, I don't know what that means, and I don't know if I ever got that.
I've seen that symbol, but I don't remember. Like when
you
say that, I don't even remember what it looks like.
What symbol? Oh, you mean in the manual?
Yeah,
I didn't even think to look at the manual. I say, what are you talking about? Is that written down in my notes here? What are you talking about? There are no pictures. I actually had that thought. What a moron. There is the Earthquake, and this kills everything on the ground and the screen. And this is awesome. Oh, I expected that to be... Well, I guess there's two different. There's an Earthquake, which is described as kills everything on the ground on screen. And there's the Power Bomb, which causes the ground to shake when you fire on it. So I guess it's actually the Power Bomb that I'm talking about. One, yeah. But yeah, where it's like it's a constant earthquake.
Every time. No, every
because
time
the Earthquake,
you drop a bomb, it's boom.
Yes, but what I'm saying is they're both persistent, because you get the Earthquake one and you don't have to shoot to kill for stuff to die on the ground. Yep. But it's not just like usually in these games, that thing is you pick it up and the shit on the screen dies and then it's over. But with this one, it keeps going. So as you're scrolling, shit's just dying that you're not even shooting for a while. And that was so fucking cool and unique relative to so many shooters. So
easily my favorite.
That was really cool
to see. Like, oh, yeah, give me some of those.
Yeah, but then, the power bomb is basically when you shoot, it causes earthquakes, which also kills things. And there's no ammunition or anything, so there's really no difference in that. You can constantly dump. I guess.
And I think that one runs out or it's timed. I don't know how.
Well, they're both timed. They're both timed. Yeah, I think. Yeah, or maybe power bomb isn't timed. I don't know. It probably is. I can't imagine them giving that to you forever.
It's definitely not forever because I would have it for a couple times. I know I learned to be like, okay, it's going to run out. So I would either just use it a couple times or just wait. In my mind, I worked out like maybe it gives me like 3 to 5
20 seconds
or whatever.
This 20 seconds is what I kind of internalized for that. And then also the dual dragons is a timed thing too. Yeah. It does not stay forever. So both those, I placed it like 20, 30 seconds, somewhere in there,
That's fair.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that is a trade-off or difference between the earthquake and the power bomb is, like, yes, with the power bomb, you can just dump on the ground constantly to essentially create earthquake persistently, but that means you're not shooting in the air, And you can kind of do both. I don't know. What would you say about that? Can you shoot both at the same time? It's like a weird.
It's
kind of, but not
work as well. Like I would with these kind of games when you have A and B doing separate shooting functions. If you can easily hold B while pressing A at the same time, like you're golden. But it didn't work that way. Like I couldn't drop multiple on the bot. If I was holding, if I was shooting in the air rapidly, I could not rapidly drop on the ground. I had to do one or the other. And then
there's some math. There's some math in there to keep you from just fucking being able to spam both at the same time. And that's probably for the better, of course.
Otherwise you would just be shooting everyting your path nonstop with no limits, right?
Yeah. So. But that has a huge effect on this small instance of the powerbomb things. You can't keep an earthquake going and deal with shit in the air. So that's a little different. It's obviously nicer to have the earthquake just going and you can shoot in the air constantly. So there is the heart power-up, and that adds an HP unit. And then there's the skull. This is poison. It reduces HP by 1. It's not telling you that it also... Well, I guess it does say that if you lose HP, you lose attack levels too. So I guess it's inherent maybe, but it should say that.
I'm like, that's the most thing you can... The most clear thing you can see.
HP is important too, but losing the head is like, God damn it! And there is, there are plenty of bosses where if you don't have the max white thing, so you have some angle, some horizontal bandwidth on your shot, I don't know how you defeat some of those bosses, the later ones. Like they're the once you get into the ones that have there's like the funhouse door with the long snake tongue. There is the last boss has that thing that whips out. It's like the ones who have that like really far reaching and all the stone statues in that blue hallway towards the end. Like those things, that attack is so fast and reaches so far that if you can't line up with a straight shot and shoot at the target of it, you have to be off to the side and be able to do that or you'll never get shots in. So very critical to have all three of your heads and be able to do that late game, or I just don't know how you deal,
Agreed.
Page 14 to 15 are a helpful hints banner, or under a helpful hints banner, and you can they tell you here, you can rescue the princess's kidnapped maidens by defeating the boss monsters at the end of the first 6 levels and having, this is how they word it, fulfilled certain conditions. So I was guessing that was like time-based, but they don't tell you how exactly it happens. So to be discussed later. I did the work, but it's weird and it's not time-based, and I feel like maybe, well, I don't know. It's so specific and weird that maybe they shouldn't tell you, I guess. But I guess maybe just to say you'd never guess what the conditions are, I don't think, for each of those. But
interesting.
The other tip is about the quick jump power-ups that can take you up through the levels faster, which can be sourced from flashing flying enemies. And then they also say that there are hidden power-ups you can find by spamming the ground in typical Shmup fashion, which I'm never a fan of that Doom, fucking wall grunting shit, but whatever, that's just a fabric. In the fabric of the era, you're not going to fucking get rid of that, I guess. We talked about history already. For lunchroom table tip eavesdrops, there's the, as I mentioned, the now playing cameo in Nintendo Power 14. Doesn't offer much in the way of tips and tricks. It does have a nice power-up breakdown that is far better than the manuals because it's larger and has color screenshots. So maybe that would have been, if I'd actually reviewed that after I was confused with the fucking power-up system, maybe that would explain it a little better. I'm not entirely sure. But it does look better. And everybody loves a good item breakdown. The classified info nod the game gets in Nintendo Power 20 and actually GamePro 21. It's funny. I was actually thinking posting those, finishing up that fucking Instagram feed of the magazine episodes. And I posted the GamePro one and I'd already had the Nintendo Power. Like, I wonder how many times GamePro just went through classified info in Nintendo Power and just reprinted the exact same shit, you know, with maybe a slight rejiggering of copywriting. But they basically have the stage and level select, or the music and level select in GamePro 21, and that is in Nintendo Power 20 from a few months ago, or a few months prior, basically, you know. So just funny to me how often that probably happened that GamePro did that, you know.
Man, I wish I had a...
Or vice versa. I mean, I guess I shouldn't totally outrule that fucking Nintendo Power did the same thing, but...
Yeah.
Sorry, what'd you say?
No, I was just saying, I wish I had seen this 20-up code before I started. Like, that would have been helpful to have. But, I mean, I didn't...
You did? What do you mean? We talked about it. I said that's how I convinced you to... Part of my pitch for playing this game was that was an option you would have if you hated it.
I know, but when I jumped in, I didn't look at that first. You know, again,
sure,
I just jumped in kind of first to kind of like mess with it. But then I was rolling, so I wasn't going to go start over, you know, at that point.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, I will say this. I was looking at Game Genie codes, and so starting to play this game, I was like, all right, you know, there's got to be Game Genie. Like, I need, like, if there's limited continues and this is a flying shooter, I'm going to need, like, infinite continues or something like that. Like, I feel like that's only appropriate for a game that came from the arcade, right? Right.
Sure.
That is not the case. I was looking at Game Genie codes, and there's infinite health, which clearly feels like cheating, so I wasn't going to do that. Like, any weapon power-up makes you green or white dragon, which sounds cool. You know, any weapon power-up gives you earthquake attack, but you keep regular weapon, which I don't want that trade-off, because I don't want just, you know, that sounds kind of why. So nothing...
And yeah, it wouldn't help you against... Well, I guess there's a handful of bosses that would help you against, but most of it would not.
Yeah. I mean, so bottom line, like, everything I found, like keeping weapon power-ups after being hit, like literally everything I felt like here was just cheating. So at the end of the day, no Game Genie.
I can't believe that. Yeah, unlimited lives and unlimited continues seems like that's Game Genie 101.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like when the starter pack for every Game Genie code set for every game starts with that usually. So
yeah, if they're giving me limited continues, let me just keep continuing. Then I'm good with that. But everything else is just like I'm just going to fly through the game, and it's not going to be a game.
Word.
Sadly.
Well, these codes of antiquity here are, I think, they're worth going through the actual inputs of because they are very, you know, I don't know what the word. They're very up, down, left, right kind of. They're very contra code y and like mild some level of complexity, I think. So the stage and sound select one is add power on with controller 2. You hold the A and B buttons along with the up direction on the D-pad, and then press reset on the deck, which is like, that's hardcore. You like need a second person. You know? And then, so you do that sequence, and the text sound test 00 will appear on the screen. And here you can cycle through the whole soundtrack with controller 1, like G. Blair is sitting right there in the living room with you, which is fucking dope. And then to get to the more provocative stage select zone, you need to grab that second controller again and do some more fucking hacking of the mainframe. And the input sequence for this is B, up, B, down, B, and then another unlabeled. It doesn't say stage select. Like that same screen stays there with the sound select and the number, and then below that, just a number with no labeling, additional labeling at all appears, and you can cycle through with controller 2 numbers in that second set of digits to the stage number that you want, and then you hit start on controller 1 you want to, and it starts the fucking game. And yeah, it is just 1990 NES code protocol to the max, and it is beautiful.
This wizardry, like what?
Yeah. The 20-up joint also requires controller 2 action, and for this one, you have to go through the first starter pack level that determines the game difficulty, after which you go back to the title screen, win or lose. In here, you hold A and B on controller 2, and then hit start on controller 1, and bada bing, 20 dragons in reserve to recklessly do dragon shit with. That is the Area 6 Glacier Land arcade theme, not from the NES. And that... So I made my selection, we'll get to that later. I was going to dual sound fucking whatever select for this episode because 6 was such a banger that I was like... On the NES, I mean, was such a banger. And obviously the arcade one is also good, better even. But, yeah, that was a track that also spoke to me, I guess, is maybe the point of what I'm saying.
It was so good. I had the NES one down there, and then as I was just looking for more options, and I was like, well, let me check out the arcade tracks. I was like, oh, I found myself, like, bobbing my head to a couple.
Oh, it's such a good sound. I mean, when we get into the game going here, I certainly have my fucking shit to say about it. But, yeah, just in general, we're saying soundtrack.
Fire.
Primo. So you turn this game on. We get right to a title screen. And there is a pixel rendition of the full box cover title treatment, including the blue dragon, posted atop the lettering, which is a nice touch. And from there, it is autoplay slideshow prologue time, with appropriate music scoring, the storyline theme. A man and a woman atop some rocks in black and white, which I would have been presuming to be Prince Lace and Princess Iris, if their embrace didn't look to be a bit more than a platonic nature.
Right.
But I was thinking to myself, like, we don't know of any other woman in the story, do we? But there is actually a mention of the queen. And yeah, so I put it together eventually, but I first looked at that, I was like, man, why are the brother and sister holding each other like that? That's a little weird. The text below appears and reads, time went by, the abominable incident by Zoel was fading away from people's memory. And then a masked, cloaked figure that gets silhouetted in what I perceive to be lightning flashes a few times is after that. Text for this reads, but the monsters of darkness were not dead. Their growing power was ready to cover the earth again. And I can't come up for the life of me of a reason why earth gets capitalized there. It's all caps, but they do that. I guess some pronouns they're capitalizing, but earth seemed like a weird one to me. Whatever. There is an ornate sword image that comes up after that. Does a good job of matching the box art sword, mind you. It's like actually looks like the one he's holding on the box cover, which is, not always going to get in an NES game. And it's encased in stone, a la Lancelot story stuff. Follows that, and the text for this reads, now the new dragon legend is ready to begin. The music fades, the demo starts, and you'll just want to get back to the title screen and get things rolling with the start button, after which we get a wee more story that reads, the hero Amru, disguised as a blue dragon, is finally about to fight the monster Zoel. And then we get our starter pack, difficulty determination level starting, where we will first encounter our control HUD options, or whatever, that are available to us. And it's pretty simple. D-pad scoots around the screen. A button fires ground fire. B button fires air fire. Start pauses. Select as the dead button. You go shmup, power player. You ask no questions. And the HUD is just a little life meter in the bottom left. There's a score up top. Both very non-invasive, which I like. So,
agreed. As
simple and straightforward as you would want and expect a shmup to be.
Yep. No clutter on the screen. There's going to be enough of that as is.
Yep. And this area 0 is called the Zoel Trial, and there is no manual description. It's just basically a starter pack thing. And you start in what is clearly a palace. Everything is stone, and there are rows of pillars that force you to make some slight business decisions about which direction you're going to go. So they kind of teach you, I guess, that there are ground things that affect you in the air, and there is some depth to it, maybe is really what they're trying to explain to you there. And it's basically, like I mentioned, just kind of a power-up fest getting to the boss battle. They're showing every single one of the ground things, whatever the fuck those are, and the handful of flying enemies, maybe 4 or whatever, are all flashing, which means they all provide power-ups, which means you get inundated with power-ups to really fuel your shit before you get to the boss battle here, which is nice, I think, and a good way to teach you the basics of the game.
I like that they do that versus like trickling it in, letting it be like level 2 or 3 before you can get like the best kind of stuff.
All the shit, right? Exactly, yeah. Agreed. By the time you hit the boss approach, which is a cool-looking throne room vibe with a red carpet leading up some steps to the boss arena, you should be kind of badass, white dragon with multiple heads, and who the fuck knows how many pronged fire breath attacks, So yeah, pretty maxed out, basically. And once the scroll stops, everything fades to black, a black void, I should say, for the boss battle, and Zoel buzzes in from off-screen, downstage, as that great boss battle 1 theme rips in. He's a serpent form, long segmented body with some shit coming off his head that is kind of similar to the prologue slideshow's baddie's mask. So I think that is meant to, be a reference thing. And he also has a baton that he holds out in front of him that blocks your attacks. He'll move that out of the way periodically so you can blast his ass. And then the prongs on his head will routinely conjure an electrical charge between them that will then fire off his head and fly around like an aimless boomerang, kind of. That's his only attack. Couldn't be easier to avoid, so this is, again, extra starter packy, I think. And you just buzz around those and dump on him when he moves his baton, and you'll frag his ass in no time. Very straightforward boss battle that I struggle to see how anyone but the youngest of toddlers could struggle with.
I definitely don't
struggle.
I was definitely not fully powered up when I got here, because I was fully powered up for most of the rest of the game after this level, and so I'm watching this play.
You must have just not been trying to engage those power-ups then, because
I don't know.
Not knowing to do so, I should say. Not trying. Obviously, no one's trying to not engage power-ups. But
I just don't know what was happening at first, because I literally just watched someone, like, with the 3-headed green dragon just frag the guy before it did one cycle. But I did multiple cycles, like hitting and then dodging it, like several. Sure. So I'm like, I clearly was not.
Whoever the fuck is in the playthrough video, Nintendo complete. This dude's fucking. He's played every game a million times already.
But I mean, like, yeah, that's my point. Like, from level 2 forward, it was always like, all right, I need 3 heads, green or white. Like, boom, that's my standard.
Yeah.
Whereas I know I didn't have it this because it took me way longer, and I was doing what he did. So, but who knows? I corrected it. We shall move on. I definitely did not have full health, though. That is noted, because as we transition to Area 2, I was like, what? I didn't get my life refilled. This is ridiculous. So I definitely got hit.
They do not. Well, we'll talk about that more, but that is an interesting, cool thing that I actually like. Because, I think the common expectation would be in a shmup that, like, everything kind of happened. What it does to me is
every level is its own world. You start over with new full health.
Right, exactly right. That's what it is. It creates this. You're on a quest. It's a through storyline that is connected. It's not these unique or standalone shmup levels. You are on a unified quest to accomplish something, and I think that is good storytelling and appropriate because they also give you. There's a story-based way that this gets fixed. Yes, which we will talk about.
True.
So
that's true.
So it's all there, Jay. It's all there. So when you do accomplish this feat and beat Zoel, the black transitions back to throne room, and a big explosion animation goes down. We cut to a slideshow. There's the couple on the rocks. Text reads, Amru and Orisha married and had twins. So yeah, that's the king and his queen, not fucking brother and sister.
Right. I was like, what?
For differentiation. Yeah. And then it reads, Amru became ill from his battle with Zoel. And that's, so we go from that. And again, it's funny to me. They just recycle the exact same artwork in the same exact sequence. So good job. Very efficient use of assets by fucking Bandai here.
Right. Same artwork, different words.
Yes. Right. Exactly. So then we move to the mass figure art. And the text reads, the twins were named Lace and Iris. Meanwhile, Galda started conquering the Earth. It's just like, I don't know. To me, it's very, it's a too blasé way to put Galda started conquering the Earth. It's like, that requires a new paragraph, I think, basically. Not just the next sentence. And they're not comparable feats, maybe, I guess is the more important thing to say. Like some twins being born over here and Galda conquering the earth are not the same thing in two different places. And that, to me, was funny. And then we go do the sword and the stone image, and the text says, Galda took Iris away as his victim. Lace took the sword, which his father left to slay Galda. And then the title screen after that, and it says, Blue Dragon push start below the title treatment if you beat Zoel. If you fail at any point in that level, whether it be against Zoel or somehow in the level prior, you get a different slideshow, and it's someone in bed just waking up. And it's Lace, I guess, that's in bed. And I don't know if you noticed it, but behind him, there are little toy figurines on his headboard. Did you notice these?
No, because I just exited out of it once I saw it. I was like, what's happening?
So it's blue. It's like you just like sat up in bed from like maybe a nightmare or something. And there's toy figurines on the headboard. One is the blue dragon, and the other one is Zoel, like on each side of his head. So they're just like toys on his headboard, Oh
yeah, it's supposed to be a dream or something, right?
Well, it's supposed to be. You're going to get the kiddie version of the game. Basically, it's for again kids that just couldn't do it. So it just, I don't know, man. It's like a really, by video game fucking programming standards in 1990, a very well thought out way of presenting the kiddie mode. For kids and right. And it not only gives you the kids mode, it also gives you kids stakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Which is good. I like that.
Yeah, it's a really nice touch.
Yeah.
So the text reads below this, Father, Lace jumped out of bed and said, he defeated Zoel just then. And then it cuts to the masked figure. And the evil fucker is, ha ha ha, I am the evil master Galda. I will take Iris as my victim. And then to the sword and the stone. And the text for this is, son of the hero Amru, take me and the gold dragon, go and fight the evil master Galda. And then we go on to the title screen, and it says Gold Dragon push start below the title screen in that case. So, you know what you're getting into if you're old enough to just differentiate those two things, I guess. Maybe not every kid would be. But yeah, that was a really nice touch, I thought.
Yep.
But yes, playing as the Gold Dragon is not the goal. We want to do the blue one so we can actually blow through the whole entire game and get to Galda, it's actually, reading this and thinking about it, that's one misstep maybe by them, is this text reads, I am the evil master Galda, I will take Iris as my victim. Son of the hero Amru, take me and be the gold dragon, go and fight the evil master Galda. So they're telling you, you should and can go fight Galda, but you can't, because you'll never get there. You can't get past the 5th stage with the gold dragon. So it maybe should say something different there. But other than that, it's cool. So you press start, and we cut to Prince Lace standing on top of a mountain. This is the really cool cinematic I mentioned. We get a really nice little get hype game ditty. And he draws his sword and holds it high. This transforms him into the very, very, I think, badass-looking blue dragon in this pixel art, And it flies up and off the screen, and then we start the game. And this first level is called the Paleozoic Era. And the manual description for this is Where Huge Dinosaurs Roam. And all 9 levels of this game have a unique music track. The 9th level has 2 different tracks. Mm-hmm. And this is in addition to 3 unique boss battle joints and a whole bunch of unique game event cues. I've already, mentioned some of them. The little get hype ditty, the fucking title track, even the fucking pause sound that's only like 3 seconds is cool. Like, it's all very good music, and there's a ton of it. Dude, so I download these things to get ready for the episode, so I don't have to do it all in one bulk thing. And, I probably have more songs downloaded for this game than any other game episode we've ever done. So editing is going to be a beast for me. Awesome. But you as the listener are going to get the treat of all of them, and that is, it's just a really, really good fucking soundtrack, and Namco spared no expense on that front at all.
Absolutely. When I was picking music, normally, I usually try to do it in the mornings before we record, and the kids
yeah, you said it last night. Yeah. That's of note as well.
Yeah, so I was done so early. I was like, I was just going to pick the music then, but then. Zeke was doing something with the recording. They were watching a show, so I couldn't just play the music out loud. So I was annoyed. So I came back in the bedroom and I was like, let me just go ahead and put the headset on because normally I just play that without. So with the headset on, I would just like nodding my head to like listening to every track. I was back here for so long just listening to all of the
good.
tracks.
I had the thought the other day.
So good.
And there's a handful, and I don't even think they were deliberate. It's just because I downloaded them to cut the opening to this. So I have a handful of like NES chip tunes that have just gotten into my music library that will come on if I'm shuffling my whole music library on my phone.
Yeah,
will sometimes come on. So I have a few of those in my music library. But I was thinking the other day, like there are whole soundtracks I need to just download and have playing. You know, it's insane that I don't have like some of the songs that we found are absolute bangers, and I need to fucking build like a playlist of really cool ass pixel fucking deals. You know, or chiptune deals rather. So. Yeah, music, very good. Very, very good. Also, I really like that their choice for the level name here, this Paleozoic era, Paleozoic era is the name of the level, and it's the only one in the game like that. The rest of them are just, jungle biomes, basically. Jungle, ocean, glacier, whatever. So this is a unique choice, and it's the first one, and this got, it's one of those words, like, you've heard that word a million times, Paleozoic era, right? It's dinosaurs, whatever. It's just like, an era in Earth history, right? I've never sat down and really what exactly is it? What is the definition? So the Paleozoic era, Jay, refers to a span of time here on planet Earth that ran from 541 million years ago to 252 million years ago. And the word Paleozoic means ancient life, basically, is what it translates to. It's probably Latin, is my guess. Maybe, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't look that part up. But wherever it comes from, it translates to ancient life. So that era, the oldest animals modern science has found records of, appeared just before that. There was an era prior to it called the India-Karen period, and that's where multi-cell complex life forms first appeared, just before the start of this Paleozoic era. And then the mass extinction event that took our beloved dinosaurs away from us is, until Jurassic Park brought them back anyways, is the end point of this era. So 242 million years ago is when the fucking dinosaurs, 252, sorry, when the dinosaurs disappeared. So that is the era of dinosaurs, basically. And I want to believe that they were thinking I think it's more interesting and complex if they were just using Paleozoic in its translated form, ancient life. I think that's a more interesting, fun one, but it's probably just dinosaurs. Yeah. There are dinosaurs in this level.
They couldn't just call it dinosaur era. So
right. Yeah. Put a little effort into it, yeah. But yeah, I just thought that was cool and interesting that this was the one that wasn't just a biome, and it's how they started it. Kind of cool. So yes, we're flying over some tundra as far as the look of this stage, and water is cutting into it from both sides throughout, so it's, land and water, and that allows them to use water-based enemies, including land-based enemies, which is interesting, and allows them to create some variance in the ground-based enemies. Yep. And there is through the entire level, there's some kind of fire shit that is firing down from off-screen and plummeting to the ground, leaving holes where it hits. So I feel like the intentionality of this was that they want you to feel the dimensionality of the game, and to remind you that there are both air and land issues to deal with, I think is what the idea with that is. And having them leave holes and hit the ground like that is what that is. So good game design again. And then things fly in unified formations. You shoot them in the air. Then there are some little boat deals that start appearing in the water for you to use the ground attack on, all very starter pack. So you can just get your bearings and kind of feel how this works, And then you will encounter a handful of complicated enemy mechanics on your way to an ocean stretch that leads up to the boss. Notables in there's the lizards that meander around on the ground for a bit, where you, it's the first instance where the enemy basically poses no threat for a period of time while they're on the ground. And then once they get going and take off, they fly fast as fuck and just kamikaze right at you. So what it's teaching you is, if you can get rid of those before they become aggressive, before they aggro, they're easier to deal with, So again, starter pack idea, showing you some variants, teaching you things, yada yada, all very good. And then there's those birds that fly in and do the half arcs and then fly back off the screen. And if you shoot them, their feathers fly in all directions in like a spread attack style, basically. So they basically, if you just let them die, if you just let them fly off, they're not a problem. So if you don't have to shoot them,
which I never did.
Right, exactly. It's hard to, and also they try to keep you from doing that because a few of them flash and obviously have power ups. So they try to incentivize you to create danger for yourself. So again, just little mechanics the game has, and we're seeing them here and getting a feel for them. And I think that's all very good game design. So those are just things that I noticed. And then we have that ocean stretch. That is, we'll get a lot of this. And I think they also do a good job at times of kind of turning this expectation once they create it on its head. But here we have these boss battle approaches that are like calms in the storm, They're not always benign. Often there is something going on that is dangerous, but it's usually different than just regular enemies. It's like an environmental thing or something. And it is, I would say, relative to the bulk of the stage, calmer, even in those cases when we have fireballs or whatever it might be that's coming in, So we get that, and then you roll into the screen stop scrolling, of course, and the boss will almost always come off screen from the top. And in this case, it is a green sea turtle with a segmented serpent neck, and it has a bunch of red jewels on its shell that look pretty cool, I think. And it pops off bursts of 3 of the fire projectiles that were raining past throughout the level, which I think is a cool touch that kind of ties. The whole idea then is that this boss has been up here watching you come the whole time and is trying to prevent you from making it, you know what I mean? Even before you get to an actual battle with it. So that is, again, just cool. World building, environmental storytelling, yada yada. All very, very good game design that makes you feel like you're playing a complete effort and not just a fucking shmup that they wanted you to pay $60 for. Yeah. So that's cool. So once you know it's only doing those bursts of 3 every time, this gets pretty easy. This is a pretty easy battle. I got hit maybe once or something the first time before I realized that I could dependably expect 3 and then attack, So very cake. Once you know that, I am presuming you felt the same way.
Not a bad first round. My run went pretty similar to this Nintendo Complete. Like I left, like this is what I was referring to earlier. So I definitely got hit. So I left that level. I was not powered up fully. I had some health loss, but the boss itself was not a problem.
Right. Yeah. So they die, and I like the death animation. It like starts on the head and works its way down the neck. And then the shell explodes, So again, just little touches of detail that not every fucking shmup is going to give you. And then we get a score tally, arcade style as fuck. And then I got a cutscene that has a great music cue. I must have met whatever the mystery conditions are, as this was a rescued maiden that you're having a cutscene about here. It's a green-haired white girl, very princess-ish-y, and she says, I'm a maid of Arlia. I was caught by the monsters of darkness. My friends are also prisoners. They will be helpful to you if they turn up. And no further information is provided, so they are not revealing the conditions.
I didn't catch that conditions part when because I jumped in first and then read the thing at some point during it. But I just assumed these cutscenes were a part of it until they stopped later.
Well, it's kind
of like, what happened? Are we done with them?
This is a really good shmup, dude. It's fucking... I'll talk about it as we go through here, but it's got just so much more than most fucking shmups do, dude. There's just so much more effort here. So we're into Area 2. This is the volcano. The manual description for this is full of lava spewing volcanoes. And these succinct level descriptions are just so very arcade shmup-tastic. They're just like very to the point. Like there's no fucking bullshit. Just like, fucking let's volcanoes.
Go.
I see that. Let's go. Right, yeah. We don't need to fucking have a discussion about this. Just go. This is a fiery hellscape, as volcanoes might suggest. And the random spewing of volcano innards up into the air can definitely catch you slipping, or at least caught me slipping. So you got to pay attention to those and make sure you're not fucking flying into them. And I have no idea what the intermediate steps are here, but you're just grabbing shit in the fucking bullet hell. But the pink dragon, which we haven't even talked about, we talked about the green and the white dragon, there's also a pink dragon, I was thinking here, ultimately I think, again, it's kind of a trade-off, but here, I'm writing down and thinking to myself, like, oh my god, I need to have the pink dragon with 3 bullets, Like, you teaching yourself and learning, basically, that, like, it's very important to have the fully powered up deal, and, like, just gaining preferences, like, getting a feel for what that system is, and understanding there's differences, and, like, making choices, and just getting favorites, that happened right away, which we kind of talked about anyways, that, like, they kind of they feed it all to you and show you what your options are right up front, and, there's no fucking, gatekeeping, I guess, with the power-up tree. Is maybe what I'm saying here.
Right. But did you get the pink dragon after this level? Is the question?
Level 2? No, I got it. No. Maybe I don't think I got it after this.
I'm like, because when you
said... Now that you say, I didn't think about not having done that until you said it, but I don't think I did. I think you're right.
Exactly. Like, I got on this level 2, and I was like, wow, that's great. But then after this, it was literally just... green or white.
And green,
I didn't even see another option, and I was always grabbing the stuff really until like area 6 or something when things started.
I don't even know. See, this is what I mean. Like, I understand that we have the pods, and there's the 3 heads. Mm-hmm. I know what the head one looks like. I know what I think the fire one looks like, and that's the fire power. I don't know what causes the different color heads. Yeah. I don't know what they look like. I guess I'm going to try to pay attention to the fucking video here as it goes. But, like, I don't know what those are. I can't picture them. I have no idea. So, just really would be curious to know.
So, it just never popped back up to me. Like, I just don't even recall it, like, seeing it again. It's like, wait a minute. When did the pink happen? Let me check notes again. Double check. Like, where did this? Right. Oh, yeah.
But that's probably why it felt so good, is it's probably a somewhat OP thing, So they didn't.
Like, we'll drop something fun here, but you can't have this the whole time.
Right? Yeah, this is going to be a taste and get you hooked, and then from there we'll fucking make you feel pain, like all good addictions. The boss approach here is through a mostly lava-covered area where fireballs pop up out of lava and kamikaze at you, and then the boss battle itself is a 2-headed phoenix, which is a nice, sensible Hellscape boss choice, I think. It's got some cool mechanics to it. It has a 4-orb fire barrier circling around it at all times. You have to shoot through the gaps of to get blows on them. And then the fireballs are constantly tracking on the screen as its primary attack. So they're kind of homing-ish, I guess. And then it will periodically freeze, the Phoenix I mean, and then explode into a 8-direction, like little fire birds that will go in all cardinal and intercardinal directions across the whole screen. So you gotta, tuck into a fucking gap between those to not get hit. And then a beat or 2 later, it will congeal again and they will fly back in to the screen. So you can't just leave your safe place. You need to stay there until it congeals again, and then you can go engage it. So it's just a completely different mechanic set from the first boss. And I would say in general, the boss battles all have... It did not feel samey in any way, shape, or form. There was no boss battle where I was like, oh, this is just the same thing I've already done. So, in a 9-level game, that's pretty good, I think. So, good job with boss design, I think.
Yeah, I nuked the boss with my 2-headed white dragon, so I was feeling pretty great.
Word. There's another maiden cutscene after this. At least I thought it was, but in this case, it was just a silhouette of something that kind of looked like one of the maidens, right? That wasn't filled in with color. So the thing is, it's still it's talking to you still, and it says in this case, the evil lord of the ancient era was awakened at the last moment by Zoel. He is Galda, whose power is much greater than Zoel's. And so they're giving you this story breadcrumb, and it's explained to you that Galda is much more about it like P than fucking Zoel, which is good to know, I suppose. But yeah, I don't think I met I was thinking, like, I shouldn't say I was thinking. I was wondering whether I'd met the condition.
Right,
whether this was...
That's what I'm saying. To me, they're just cutscenes right now. Like,
right. But that's the thing. We'll get into the mechanics of it later. We did not. Basically, what I think is, I guess, I didn't read...
Because I don't remember my cutscene now. I'm just assuming this was the same as the one I had, but now I don't remember.
See, I wrote down whether it was a silhouette or a thing, but yeah, I mean, I never read it explicitly. This is the case, but my interpretation is this is the bad state. Basically, this is you didn't meet the conditions, so you're not getting the actual maiden, but they still want you to get that story. They wrote the story. They want you to have the fucking story breadcrumbs. So you're getting the story breadcrumbs. You're just not getting the benefit of finding or achieving that maiden.
Do you know what the good one is? Then I'm like, did I get that?
Yeah, I have the list later. We'll get to the when we wind up. I'll
because now I don't remember which one I got. I'm like,
I wrote them all down. The ones I didn't get, and it's funny too. It makes perfect sense. I even have like an explanation of like it makes total sense to me what the conditions are, and that I didn't see the ones I didn't see. It makes it totally checks out. So yeah, it all makes sense, and there is a method to the madness. But in the moment, I had no clue and was very confused and very curious to know what was going on and whether or not I was actually doing what I thought would be the good thing or need to be the good thing to get these. You, of course, want to save all the fucking maidens.
Right.
Yeah, like it's obviously a goal that they present to you, so you want to do the best possible win state. And, a lot of these games, the end of the game is different if you don't do these intermediary things the right way. So I, of course, want to get the best win state, too. So the idea that I'm going through the game and failing in some way, even though I think I'm working these fucking things, was a little befuddling to me, so. Whatever. From there, we move into Area 3, the jungle, and the description for this in the manual reads, filled with swarming insects. And yes, this was my music track selection. It's an absolute banger. In the stage, we have a lot of frogs and mosquitoes and shit like that, so they're doing a good job of keeping the level, themed with what the biome is, as far as the enemies go and stuff, so that's good. And you get some tried and true shooter stuff in the life force membrane mechanics that you'll encounter here for the first time. It's like mesh-like organics that you have to shoot your way through to clear a path. And then, even late in the stage, really, like, kind of a variation of that, you have those, they look like an island that maybe spawns a head or something, and those move around and kind of home towards you, but they leave a path of kind of that same material behind them that you have to shoot through. And what it reminds me, actually, is kind of the Snake game on old school cell phones, or maybe QBasic if you're really old school.
Oh, man.
Had a Snake game that you could play on fucking DOS, fucking 5.2 or whatever fucking QBasic came with. I think it was in 6.2 but whatever. Either way, old school games. And I got my first Earthquake pickup here. That's cool as fuck. It's the first time getting that. Yeah, I just could not believe that it was persistent. It just kept wrecking shit as you went. I just thought that was so fucking cool. And here you get it, and it's for that sequence of all the frogs on the ground, which are a big pain in the ass,
So good.
So it's, really nice to have those fucking taken care of for you without having to deal with them firsthand. And yeah, that Snake game sequence was the first time that I had the thought to myself, like, you have to have some spread fire, to create more than just, like, the width of your dragon in these things where you have to shoot shit away. You really want something that's opening it up, a little bit of room to move, because obviously shit's flying at you and you need some mobility. So, just a very... the first time in the game where I was like, okay, like, this is kind of, like, this is difficult, It requires some skill and also some kind of planning, because, like, in any case, there were two of them on screen. So, the whole, like, you could go up and just dump on the one and keep the head, because it keeps respawning new heads. It won't stop until it's off screen. Yeah. So you can shoot it, but if you fly away and don't keep shooting it, it'll eventually spawn a new one, or quickly spawn a new one, and then it'll start snaking around the screen and creating a restrictive area that you can't go into, So you want to stay there and just hammer on it, but once the next one gets on the screen, you need to let that one go. And then you're dealing with fucking one or two, So it's just making you make choices. And there would even be, I'm watching actually this sequence right now. Three of them could get on the screen very briefly at times too, if you let them scroll that way. So yeah, just a very, business decision oriented segment in this level, which is cool. With the boss battle, it is a plant with 4 tendrils that protrude out from it, at the end of which there's, I guess maybe those are eggs they're supposed to be, or, like, I don't know, pollen, something, flowers or something, they pop out of them, and it continuously spouts off what I role-played as pollen projectiles from, like, the main flower in the middle, and you can shoot this, same exact kind of idea as the things I was just talking about. You can shoot that pollen shit and get rid of it constantly, but you won't be able to go dump on the fucking things that actually get you through this battle. So you need to make the choice of like, okay, I'm going to let that shit populate the screen while I go do this other little side mission and then go back and hopefully clear those back out and be able to create safe space for myself. So a cool little either or choice they make you make with the battle. And so yeah, there's these 4 fucking egg things. There's 2 rounds of them. You have to use ground attacks to blow them up. And then another round will pop out of 4. You do those. And then after that, you just have to ground attack the main flower. It visually transitions a little bit. It kind of like, it has a green encasement to it. And then after you take the eggs out, that falls away and it looks more just like a normal flower, you know? You got to dump on that while it keeps shooting shit out at you. So even that case, you're doing that thing where, yeah, you can't, it's shooting the shit in the air. So you want to be shooting in the air to get rid of that, but you need to be ground attacking to actually do damage to it. So you got to like, you know, again, get some ground attacks in, go back to the air fire. So you're not just spamming it by any length, which is good, I think.
Oh yeah, I really liked the boss mechanic here. Like I really enjoyed this boss. And I don't really say that with a lot of bosses. Usually just like, oh, boss fight, stressful, whatever. But I actually really enjoyed this. Like it was very methodical. Like, all right, I can. Yep. This is where I really learned what we talked about earlier. Like I can only hit air and ground so much, like in sync kind of a thing. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. And, you know, agreed. I never got hit once. So like this fight was primo to me, which is funny because as I normally have like a reference video up playing, like to remind myself of details while we're talking through this. This is the second time Nintendo Complete did not complete the right conditions, and I realized I did because I'm like, I did not see that. I'm like,
I'm watching the same video, dude. And again, when I rattle that off to you, you're gonna be like, you're just gonna be sitting there nodding. I promise you, it makes so much sense.
Now it does, yeah, for sure.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I guess as a further teaser, like, I don't think getting them all is good. You know, so it's good that I don't think it walls off a good ending from you either, you know, so they accounted for it not necessarily being good that you get them all. So again, it's all intelligent design, don't worry, and we'll get to it later. But yeah, he's not getting them. I didn't get him here either. I also got a black silhouette.
Oh, you did? I got this one. This one. Yeah.
So that's probably bad. Probably bad, Jay. It's probably bad.
What?
Well, I don't know.
No, again, it's definitely not, because the one you get, which is the one I got.
She gives you something. Yeah, they give you stuff. But a lot of times the way to get them is by having fucked something up, kind of. So
I don't know. Like I said, I didn't get hit on the boss. I flew through this one. I was definitely powered up, and I got extra lives. So to me, I was like, this is freaking great. Okay.
Right.
Like, I don't need it, but it's great. We'll see.
We'll get there. We'll see. Yeah. So the text she gives you is, this forest was once peaceful, but now the plants and birds are gone. Only you can restore the beauty and peace again. And then we move into Area 4, the graveyard. Annual description reads, where the battered graves of monsters cover the desert wasteland. And this is, as you might expect, a much shittier looking place. It's like a yellow, brown, black color palette. Very drab compared to some of the ones we've seen already. And having the white dragon here was really tough on the eyes. It was like a really bad contrast with that fucking background, you know. So that's one little maybe design shortcoming. It's not fucking the end of the world, but definitely I was like, God, it's like fucking hurt my eyes to look at. Fucking a lot. This is a very short level, seemingly to me anyways, and I rolled right into the boss battle with a 2-headed green dragon. And this is where I first kind of parsed that the green dragon projectiles are a longer flame, and they seemingly did more damage than the white dragon attacks. So that, of course, is good at doing more damage, but does not have the spread mechanic to it, which is a trade-off. So the boss battle is a pink bone. It's a bone dragon, pink-colored, with a blue orb inside of its ribcage. And I merged it so fast, I'm not even sure I saw the full functionality of it. But it had a base projectile of little wavy flames, and then I saw a few of those, and then the whole skeleton explodes and sends a bunch of shit in all directions. You gotta dodge, of course, and then all that was on the screen for a few seconds was the orb, which floated around slowly, and you need to shoot this. Yep. This is when it's weak, I presume, or it definitely is. And yeah, you want to fucking take the orb out, right? And I it wasn't even able to come back together the first time. Like I wasted it in that first orb appearance. So I don't know if it does anything else. It might. It was like 4 seconds probably. So I'm guessing it maybe does at least one other fucking something, but I did not see it. Do you happen to know, or did you have a different experience?
So no, I did not have a different experience. So it was funny to me because I came in here and I was green after having been just a white dragon since stage 2. So I'm feeling pretty good. And I wrote down verbatim, either the green dragon is OP or the boss was a bitch. Like, one of those two is true. Yeah. I don't know, but this was great and quick.
Yeah, I got it playing right here. I was looking forward to seeing how Nintendo Complete here handles that battle. I imagine it's going to be also a blip on the radar. There is another maiden after that, which made me feel like I was really cooking with gas. So, like, I fucking... After having the silhouettes, I'm like, okay, that went great, and like I murked the fuck out of that boss, and then I get a maiden, it's like, all right, I'm jamming, so it was funny. And again, you find out later that it doesn't mean the same what you think it means. But the text she gives you reads, I'm a flower fairy. I had lost all hope. Thank you very much.
Try to do my duty.
Messages.
We'll be right back.
Dragon Spirit, the new legend. In this non-stop action game for your Nintendo Entertainment System, you transform into the mighty blue dragon to rescue the princess from the grasp of an evil demon. To get to its lair, you'll have to blast fiendish enemies every step of the way, fighting through 10 levels of heart-pounding action on land, sea, and air, right up to the ultimate battle with the demon itself. Can you rescue the princess and save the kingdom? Dragon Spirit, the video game from Bandai.
What a time to be alive with commercials like that on TV.
Just.
Hand puppet dragons, you name it. That commercial has it all, dude.
Overgrown sock puppets as dragons. What are we talking about? Come on.
Fucking incredible.
Oh,
fucking
man.
incredible.
Such so bad. Oh,
so like, yeah, the hand puppets, and then you have like the really bad green screens.
Right.
The actor has no hope of being good moments, Just it is so good. The princess screaming and shit is not.
I don't think
bad.
this is the marketing effort you want to put forth to sell this game.
I can't. Yeah, I mean, there's been a million of those full pagers in GamePro and stuff, so I guess it shouldn't be, and they've been there for a while now in our mag timeline, so I guess it shouldn't be wild to me, but I was so surprised it had its own dedicated commercial. I really was. I could not believe that existed,
That is true.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's they didn't spend the most money on it, but for a game by Bandai, which is not the biggest publisher by any length. Namco is a big developer, but the publisher is not. Obviously would have been the one spending the money and whatever handling the marketing. And they, I can't even think of another Bandai game that would have had a commercial. I'm trying to think of what another Bandai game is on the top of my head. So, I mean, it's a name. It's not like a total. It's a name I feel like I've seen a bunch of times.
But
yeah, but it's not fucking certainly not Capcom, Konami type shit, Sunsoft, nothing like that. So, I guess it's just to its credit that it had a commercial at all. As funny as it may be. Exactly. So back to the game. The next area is Area 5, Cave Road. And the description reads, where moving walls and an evil spider lurks. And this is a wild NES shmup stage, dude. It's like you have these jagged walls that close in and out. They shift in unison, both of them together at times. And if you touch them, you take damage. And it makes it feel like it has even more depth than the stages prior, which we've all, the whole game has this air ground mechanic. But with this, and the spiders kind of being below that stuff that's moving around at times, and you can't even hit them in some instances because of that shit being in the way.
And the thing's coming up from the ground at the same time. Right. You're just like constantly getting squeezed everywhere you go.
Yep. Very, very cool, I guess. Although stressful.
Yeah, this was a tough stage. This stage to me, like, easily the stage is tougher than the boss on this one. Just spoiler alert.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, the sequence right up before the boss battle, they give you so little room to breathe, So yeah, it is a very, very tough feeling. And then this is one of the instances where it really opens up in the boss battle approach, and you feel the relief,
Like,
really, 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 really good. And, again,
I made it.
Any Nintendo game creating emotional responses, thumbs up from fucking Josh. And yeah, the boss battle, giant spider, and that is a logical choice for this, of course. And it took me 2 tries, because I didn't get that I needed to be bombing on the ground the first time. I didn't realize the depth thing going on here. So yeah, I didn't kill it the first time, but the second time I came in fucking dumping with hyper rapid fire, and I fucking wasted it the second time. So yeah, it runs around the web, creates grunt spiders, the ones that you see in the stage, and I don't think you can kill them. I'm pretty sure. If
they don't die, they disappear. They didn't stay there.
Okay, I wasn't able. It created a real bullet hell for me, but I killed the spider so fast that it wasn't a deal.
Like I said, this was barely a boss to me, so I don't know how long I was actually on the screen with it.
Right. It does do so. It runs around and it does a jump too. That's kind of cool. That again, it's maybe the only time where you get. Well, there's those grunts, lizards and stuff, so it's not that it's a totally unseen mechanic, but I guess it's the only boss battle where that's the case, where you get 2, it exists in both spaces, even if only briefly in the air part of it.
Yeah.
Interesting. Back to a silhouette on the maiden front here, and she says, only a new legend made by your power can save the people from despair. Please give the people glory and hope once again. And then we move into Area 6, the Glacier. And this is the only way out is to crack through the thick ice, is the description. And contrast, no problem here if you're the Green Dragon. The level is very, very white. And the music track is a banger here, too. You use the arcade instances of it, or we would be listening to the fucking NES version right now. And yeah, it really makes this like it may have been the most like emotionally resonant music track, in my opinion, in that it made you feel like you were late in a long, hard journey. Like that was the emotional response I had to this song, which is cool, of course. And I was cooking along, thinking to myself, woo buddy, after that tight fit cave bullshit, this wide open stage is great.
Oh, yeah.
And then you hit that jagged ice wall area and realize you're still in hell.
I hit the edge at first accidentally, and I was like,
right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I didn't even like realize that. Yes, same exact thing. Yeah. I didn't even realize that it was dangerous because it's so
part of the scenery. Yeah,
white and light blue. Yeah. And then they also have the little stretches where they work in the life force biomass thing to shoot through as well. Back what we saw in the jungle level, so that's coming back. And then, dude, this is when I texted you. When this shit speeds up. It was so good. So, like, shmup. Like, it's one of those things where, like, you're going through here and, like, there's instances with that fucking biomass shit where you're just clearing it out in time. It just, so close, so fucking good. And in those cases, when you beat it, when you do the thing, it feels so fucking good in these shmups. And they created that in spades here, I think. Yeah. And then on top of that, you have that really stressful thing, and then it opens up, and you think you're going to get a lull of, like, a moment to breathe, and they totally turn that on its head. The second you get outside, it slows down, and it opens up, and you, like, for maybe think you're going to do that, and then, boom, that fucking boss rushes right in with no boss approach at all, and just such a cool job to turn something that device on its head, really good design choice, really, really cool.
Well,
love it.
This is also the first level that I actively started avoiding power-ups. Like I would be, this is where I started to really notice, like, I don't want this one because this is gonna like make me lose a head, or I don't want to grab this. Like, this is where I started being like, you know what, I'm just gonna avoid and just keep my 3-headed green dragon. Nothing else is topping this from a pickup standpoint. I'm just rolling.
It should be that easy because it is very easy to discern when you are max power of whatever tree you're on. So I should have been able to make that choice, but I never did. I couldn't resist like a fucking basic ass loot crate whore. I was just fucking give it all to me. And I liked the little buddy flanker dragons too. Yeah. So like. Yes, it takes your head away, but I like that because it not only do you have the spread fire in that case, but they're coming from a slightly further out place that those things don't take damage. So that was always appealing to me, to give me more horizontal reach on my shot. Even though, yes, it throws a monkey wrench in what you're doing.
Though,
yeah.
I can't do it. But the boss did take me only 3 hits. So Green Dragon, go!
Yep. And yeah, it is a snake dragon. Fires a shit ton of projectiles at you. And I think each segment can shoot its own shot. So the trick, you're just aiming for the end of the tail and shrinking the thing as you go till you get to the head and kill the head, Yeah. So again, totally fucking different boss mechanic, completely different than anything else. Even though so many of them have like some sort of serpent element to them, even like the turtle has like the long, it's like a snake head. So like there are, I don't know, through line fabrics, but there's enough different with each one that it never feels samey. It's so fucking good, dude. Such good boss design and everything. So good. Such a good shmup. Yeah, but it happened so fast I couldn't be sure. I killed it so fast. I'm not entirely certain that you can shrink it. I don't know if it was just dying. But I think that you can shoot the tail and shrink it if you incrementally work your way.
Nuked it.
Through this battle. So interesting story thing here. And I think it's the first time this happened. And other times you've just flown off the screen. But here, your dragon flies down into the water after you beat the boss. Instead of just flying, keeping going, And I'm pretty sure it's the first time I noticed that happening. And that is because in the story, you are now going to the deep sea ocean. So super fucking, again, just little touch that not every shmup's going to give you. You're just going to, most of these you fade out, count the score, next stage, right? And here they tie it together and you actually go into the water, Really cool. And then you go down below, you do that, and then the maiden you get has a mermaid look to her. She has bubbles around her head. Yep. So just, dude, so good. Yeah. So good on the storytelling front for shmup shit. And she says, you are entering the world of darkness. No one can help you, which is a fantastic screenshot. Maybe my favorite from the game. And then she says, all I can do for you is heal your wounds, which is an interesting contradiction, as healing your wounds is very helpful in a shmup. So she says no one can help you and then helps you.
And because... Like, this is the first time I got a heal. So I was like, oh, finally got some heal. Because
it's the first time I realized that was happening too.
Level, because that would have also healed, I think. So, missed that. That was like the only one I missed. So I was super excited to get this heal.
You think it's not that simple, Jay.
What?
It's way more. When you hear it, it's going to blow your mind. Because it's it's seemingly so arbitrary both in catalysts and in what you're given. It's just a very interesting design choice how those work. And I love that we're teasing it all episode. This is great podcasting. We're doing such a good job of podcasting. The listener is surely hanging and said, you can sell me the whole seat, but I'm only going to need the fucking edge. Great opportunity to use that. So Area 7 is the deep sea. The description for this is where exotic fish wait to attack. And this is easily the best looking stage up to this point in the game, in my opinion. Lots of colors, really looks like a seabed, I think. Maybe, again, I'm just predisposed to water environments, maybe also the case. But very cool and good looking, I think. And there's nothing particularly unique or notable in the level itself, though, I would say, as far as mechanics go. You got those eels or snakes or whatever that keep popping out of the holes, and you can't kill them, only disable them for that instance of their head poking out.
Which is
That's
annoying.
Kind of a tough stretch.
Yeah. That was tough at first, because you expect to be able to kill it, and I was like, wait, it came back. What's happening? It's
a little bit harking back to the snake game sprites, which you can only kill while you're there dumping on it, So that's it's again same but different kind of thing. Yeah. And the boss battle is a big fish. Looks like one of those wide flat ones that will hide under the sand, maybe the fucking whatever I don't know what they're called off the top of my head. They're in my diving simulator game. They're very cool.
That's so funny. Okay, that makes a lot more sense, because to me,
it was a fish on the side, right?
I'm like, there is an onion, and I nuked it. Like, I don't know why I fought an onion, but I killed it very quickly. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's one of those like under the sand things. That,
okay, now I see it. That's fair. Yeah. That's fair. I got you.
So yeah, it shoots fire and maybe some other shit, but I melted this cat too. So like 4-shot white dragon, absolutely murked it. Maybe 4 seconds again, super fast battle. So. Probably could have missed some sort of thing that it might have done those first 4 seconds.
Same thing. I'm still a green-headed or 3-headed green dragon at this point, and also nuked it. So I was like, all right, done. Moving on quickly. Let's go. And then no cutscene.
No cutscene. So yeah, we're done with the maidens. The last one maiden was the last maiden. So yeah, no more of those. And you do, in this case, you again, and it had me second guessing myself of whether I just wasn't paying attention, but I don't think I've noticed it here in the video either. You dive into the black void this time after the boss. So you're diving further, going deeper, and it's not just flying off the screen or fading or whatever. You are going into what is the next area, the Dark Quarter. So it makes sense that you're diving into this black void, And the manual description for this reads, land plunged into complete darkness, or blackness, where brief lightning provides your only chance to escape. And this is also a pretty wild fucking level, I think. The whole catch is it keeps fading to black, and when it is in the darkness like that, you can't see some, i.e. a lot of the enemies. Yeah. And it makes for tough shit. You have to even when you can see it, it's a cool eerie environment too. It's like this green and blue palette thing going on, and the enemies are all these just gross abominations, maybe is the best way to describe them in a blanket way. They're all they don't look like a creature, right? Yeah, they look like shit that would just live that doesn't have to deal that normally can't be seen in the light to make people fucking realize how ugly they are, So right. That to me was a cool choice for that. Maybe kind of aquatic in nature, like sea urchin type shit, maybe the floating things kind of reminded me of a little bit, but generally speaking, not really definable creatures. And the stage is a fucking nightmare, dude. It requires so much discipline. You can't just tear ass around the screen because you can't fucking see and just react to shit. So you got to learn to root yourself and find a safe spot, know that dark patch is coming, clear out and keep shooting what's in front of you so nothing just runs right into you, but not just be flying back.
Memorize what's there that you can't shoot, those spiky things.
Not everything. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Not everything can be killed on top of it, so you can't clear outs. But it's just requires a great deal of shmup discipline that you really have to fucking internalize
while switching between air and ground attacks.
Right,
and this part too is where it got super annoying. They throw so many of those skulls at you. Yep. I just kept, at first, it was throwing me off, and I was assuming I was getting hit. And I was like, oh, I must have just got hit by something. What? And I'm realizing, no, it's not. I just keep grabbing these freaking skulls that keep flying around and coming up behind me. I got to, avoid everything. So at this point, I'm like...
Yeah, we haven't mentioned that, but interestingly... Usually power-ups and shmups are you're constantly trying they're flying away from you. In this game, they automatically kind of home to you half-assedly. So obviously a huge problem for the fucking power step downs,
stiff arming as much as possible.
Yeah, exactly. And there's the sequence in the next stage in the castle where there are a million of them, and you're the hardest thing in the level is avoiding those, not even the enemies, which is a cool way to create challenge,
Oh man.
So very unique in that regard as well. The boss battle is a stationary serpent-themed funhouse doorway, is what I thought of it as.
Yeah.
And it's cool how, so this level's all about going to black, right? So you roll into the boss battle in a black void, whereas most of them you would roll in and then it would turn black, So you come into it black here, and the eyes show up in the darkness before the lights come on, and you see what it is. So that's a cool touch too, I think, just playing on what this particular level space is,
Yep.
And so it's it's just a doorway that stays stationary in the middle of the thing. And that's the first time you have that, where it's just a totally stationary. I guess the plant is kind of stationary.
Yeah.
But even that, there's so much projectile stuff going on that it felt a little different to me. And it does, its attack is this serpent snake tongue thing that comes out. And this motherfucking thing can go the full vertical length of the screen. There's no hiding from it. Vertically, you have to horizontally get out of the way or you're getting hit. You can't just hang back, So that is to be noted and had to be learned for me for sure. It murked me a handful of fucking times.
Oh really? Oh wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it coming, but I definitely beat it on the first try. I just dodged
because it was one of those instances where, if you get hit, this is maybe the first instance of this. If you get hit and lose your spread shot. And you can only fire straight ahead. The eyes are right because the eyes also shoot projectiles, and even those, you had to sit in one corner and time it out. It was at least a predictable timing pattern where you get 2 tongue pops, and it's first tongue pop, no eye fire, and then second, the eyes start up, and the second tongue pop goes. And while it's like you could only shoot the eyes, which was its weak point, while it was releasing the stuff from the eyes.
Yeah.
So that's its opportunity to get hits in, but that's also when the second tongue is coming and the projectiles are coming. And the way the projectiles track with you, it's like a burst of a bunch of them. You have to be constantly moving. They fly so fast that you can't just move back and forth. You have to be moving in the same sweeping direction. So what that means is you have to have enough room to keep moving in that sweep direction. So you have to, I worked out a system where I would start in like, say the bottom right corner, and then for the whole deal, be moving left across the bottom, let the tongue attack happen, keep moving, and then move up the side as well for the eye projectiles to finish off, and then create the space to reset and do that again, and get attack. And then while that's all happening, of course, getting attack spreads in as I'm moving along the bottom of the screen, you know? So that was my system for this. And yeah, it was a whole fucking deal. And if you get shot and lose the spread, that system goes out the window, and then you're just trying to get right up against the fucking eyes as the tongue. Like, it was just impossible to me. I don't know how you beat it without a spread attack. I really don't. I would not have been able to, I don't think.
Yeah. I'm still 3-headed. Like I said, I'm still 3 in green, feeling pretty strong at this point. So that was good.
I was getting hit there, and yeah, it took me probably 6 or 7 cracks, I would say, to get this battle. Wow. Yeah, it was a deal for me. And then you fly into the funhouse door. No maiden fanfare here either, and we are into the belly of the beast, Ooh. Area 9, the Dark Castle.
Let's go!
Yeah, the manual description for this is very simply, Galda awaits the final battle. No bullshit about the environment itself. So it's definitely a castle, but it feels like a castle that's underground. There's nothing but solid earth on the outside of the walls, as opposed to wherever a castle would be.
Yeah, it's almost like you're running up to the castle. Like at first, you know what I mean? Like it's like you're.
I guess yeah. I didn't really think about that. Is
to the castle?
The door? Yeah, exactly. And then the door, the funhouse door, is the door to the castle. It makes a ton of sense. Yeah, actually,
could be.
Didn't really connect that, but that makes total sense. And yeah, I mean the pathway that's outside the door changes color, and it's the start of the castle on the inside too. So 100%, that's the idea. So we move into here, and the way this whole final stage, I guess, works is there are a number of floors, 5 to be exact, and you have to work your way through what amounts to probably not a whole ass level, but maybe a half-ass level for each floor. When you get to the end, you arrive at what reminded me very much of the Dragon Warrior 2 whirlpools. You have to go into, you know. And when the first one I get to, it's I'm playing my boss battle thing, so you can see me have the moment, but it's like, what is that, and what is about to come out of it?
I did not immediately fly into it. Like I was definitely approaching it cautiously. Like what's happening next?
100%. Fucking what do you call it? Cautious, not even optimism, actually, just cautiousness. Yeah, that's funny. That is a uniform response to it. We both have that. And I don't have a ton to say about the specifics of these levels, I guess. I mean, they throw the whole fucking kitchen sink at you over the course of the 5 levels for sure. Yeah. There's some speeding up parts, a floor or 2 down where they add kind of some new environmental complications that you haven't dealt with, those spears and shit, you know. Yeah. So there's 100% hairy as fuck moments. On the 3rd floor, there's the little red and blue pricks. I posted a picture of those.
Oh, yeah, they were annoying.
Yeah, this is what an asshole looks like. Those fucking guys. The first time, I didn't realize, it took me a while to realize that I could shoot the projectile. So I thought that these fucking pricks, because they throw these hammers, they pop up out of the ground, and if you don't kill them right away, they throw these hammers in the air that home on you, and they don't have any inertia to them. They don't like most of the stuff in the game that homes on you has inertia to it. So if you dodge it, it keeps going and gives you time to like re-deal with its fucking next wave. Yeah, they just they turn on a dime and they fucking will stay right on top of you. So there's moments where you get like 5 or 6 of these on the screen, and you're not going to be able to kill all of them. So there's going to be some projectiles to deal with that you're not able to eliminate the source of before they get out into the air. And then you just have a million of these fucking things flying around. And dude, I got pissed as fuck because I did not realize I could shoot those at first. And I died a bunch here at the beginning of this 3rd floor dealing with those fucking things. And yeah, fuck, those dudes are the worst in this game, I think, as far as enemies go. Those guys are fucking assholes.
Yeah, they weren't bad. This level, like, honestly, it wasn't as bad as I thought. And I actually appreciated that this stage had multiple floors to it because, like, they weren't...
Sure.
Like
that was
you
a
said,
new mechanic.
Yeah, they weren't too mechanic. They weren't, like... I never got on the wrong path. Like, there was never a point where I was like, "Oh no, I went the wrong way. Now I'm going to crash." Like, that wasn't.
I did. I went into the dead ends a couple. There's a couple dead ends that it can get you on. Yeah. So I mean,
maybe I just
you immediately die. There's no fucking. It's not like you're like spending time on it or anything. You immediately find you took the wrong. You made the wrong call. But and even it's anytime those exist, the scroll is. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm watching now. They might. Let's see if they speed up with any of those, but. Most of them, anyways, I don't think they do. Yeah, we're moving to the whirlpool here. Most of them are in a place where you will see the dead end in time to fly down and back out if you move quickly, anyways. So that's to be said for sure. And then the 5th floor, once you get to it, looks just like the training wheels level that you started the game with. So you have that great visual storytelling thing of either identical or very similar bookends to make you feel like the beginning and the end have some connective tissue to them, so that's good storytelling. Good job there. And also similar to the prologue level, there isn't much in here but power-ups, really. Yeah, there's just a bunch.
But they're all the bad ones.
Well, there's a bunch of bad ones in there, but it is still mostly just a power-up feeder tube, So
they're so bad.
And that's a perfect example. That's exactly what I'm talking about. It's supposed to be. You're supposed to get that opening and closing storytelling bookend thing is about like it's the same. It's close enough to the same thing. Where you think of the first time you saw it, but it's different enough to be worth putting on the screen again, And like that, it's perfect. That's exactly. It's just like that. Make you think about it, but look at all these fucking skulls you're going to get in addition to the power-ups, So yeah, it's just great. It's just very, 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 very good. And then that leads to a blue corridor populated by a shit ton of these huge stone statues. I'd call them maybe lizards, is maybe the way to describe what they are supposed to represent, like humanoid-ish lizards.
Maybe I thought they
standing erect.
Rhinos? I don't know. As soon as they popped up, I immediately had to nuke them. So like I barely got to look at them.
That's what you want to do. What they actually remind me of, dude, is in Legend of Zelda 2. There's the two things that the enemies that really suck in that game are the axe throwers, right? And those look kind of like alligators, maybe.
Yeah.
And then there's like the two versions, the one that can just do melee attacks, and then the second one can throw the axes, and those fucking suck. And then later in the game, you get kind of a salamander version of the same two enemies. And these look like those to me. The salamander late game spear thrower fuckers is what these look like to me. Obviously a morning star instead of a spear, but as far as the creature, they reminded me of those. For you Zelda fans out there, the very few of those that there are. And yes, so these things have morning stars and they whip out at you and they're just like the fucking tongue on the Funhouse door, basically. They reach far as fuck. They fucking are fast as hell as far as the speed of the projectile, So yeah, what you want to do is murk them ASAP and not let that happen at all. And to do that, you kind of, because the reach is far enough, dude, where you can't really murk them before they get an attack off. You just got to be moving to the side.
No, you absolutely can.
Some of them you can, but there's instances where there's more than one on the screen and you can't. Like the last three in particular. Yeah.
I'm like with the green dragon. Yeah, I always nuke them. Like just get up, pop up. Nope, you're not shooting anything. You're not shooting anything until there's two on the screen. Then that's like, all right, well, you're not going to get me though because I'm over here.
Right. Which I couldn't bring myself to let them remain. I had to kill them. Too much completionist for that. You get through those, you get another whirlpool, and then... Well, actually, no, before that, you get a mini-boss for the first time. At least I would call it that. And it's a really cool thing where it's probably them just fucking working around having to show you the body with the pixel, like doing the pixel art for it, and also putting more shit on the screen that would probably muck it up and maybe give you some flicker. But it's like a 3-headed serpent thing that is like coming up out of the hole in the ground, so you only see and deal with the heads. Yeah. They make it feel like there's a body down there you can't see, but
only the heads can fit through here. The body's too big or something.
Right. And there's also they give you the Boss Battle 3 theme here. That is an absolute banger. you kill them pretty easy, I would say, actually, especially if you're rolling with the fucking maxed out dragon, and then...
Flying over lava, man.
Oh, yeah, so then we have probably the coolest boss approach of the game, the final one, you know? Yeah, you fly over it's this bridge going over top along a big lava lake, and you do get, like I said, the fireballs are popping up, but they kind of pop up right in front of you, you know? So if you just stay in the middle over the bridge the whole time, and you have a powered up dragon, you can just dump in the air, and it'll just blow them up before they can even pose a threat to you, you know? And you can kind of use this as like a calm before the storm moment, you know, which is very cool. Yeah, it's very long, and you're over lava, so it's just very well done boss approach, I think. At the end of it, you come up on the exact same throne room you fought Zoel in at the beginning, and bookends, if that needs to be said, for the square off against Galda. And they drop, just a really nice little touch, they drop 3 little starter pack fucking power-ups right there before the thing. One of them is that S thing, which I don't know exactly what that is, but it's a super big power-up. Probably means super something. And then they feed you some Dragon Warrior, Dragon Lord shit here for this boss battle. It's really cool, I think. The first thing that happens is the masked humanoid figure from the prologue slideshow appears on the red carpet in the middle of the throne room thing here. And he pops off like this kind of very wide, multi-pronged spread attack thing, but you can easily tuck into the corners and avoid it. For the gaps are real big in the corners, so very easy to avoid that, and you just murk the shit out of this dude, you know. So it's very similar to the Dragon Lord in that there's like this basic bitch ass humanoid form of the big baddie, and you kill that very easily, and then the real shit hits the fan, and you have the real battle against the actual boss battle.
So I agree with most of that, except that he never got an attack off from me. Like with my green dragon, I immediately took him out. Like there was no spread. I didn't see his attack. He was done. So I was like, that can't be it. What's next?
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah, the upload of the boss battle video for sure. So you can check it out. Yeah, I definitely have. Like, is that it? That can't be it. No way. That's not fucking it. That ain't. And yeah, but I think they did a great job. Even of that, it doesn't just fire right up. There's like a moment. They even do a score tally. You know, so it does its full best 8-bit effort to make you feel like maybe that was it. You know what I mean? Like, so I just thought that, yeah, that was very thorough. Try to bait and switch you on that.
It very much is bait and switch because they score tally and then it's like fade to black. Here we go. Back into
and then it just rips in and it's like, oh shit, yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, so just so many little efforts that are above and beyond. It's great. It's fucking great. Great shmup. So, the battle against Galda, it's pretty straightforward. There's not, like, a bunch of phases or anything like you might get with some bosses, but I would definitely not say it's easy by any length. The first thing, so it first deploys 3 flashing orbs that will continuously bounce around the room at a pretty nice clip. And I would say that the bouncing defies physics. Like, the angle that they come in at, because they bounce off the edges of the screen, right? So the angle that they maybe hit the edge of the screen at, they don't always bounce off of it at the angle that logically they would bounce off of with normal fucking physics, right, you know? So to me, it reminds me of, this is a very obscure reference, but if you played enough Alleyway on Game Boy, this is what I thought of. In Alleyway, the high level, which is just Breakout, if you don't know what Alleyway is, it's just a Game Boy version of Breakout. And the kind of advanced level way of playing that is, the ball just bounces down, of course, and if you stop your paddle, it kind of bounces off of it in the way that you would think it would bounce. Just, if it comes in at a 45-degree angle, it's going to come back off of it at a 45-degree angle. And late game, especially when your paddle gets smaller and you really want to be able to manipulate what's happening and you're trying to hit maybe a certain brick on the thing and change the pattern of the ball bouncing, if you're moving when you hit it, it comes off of it at a more slight angle, at a less steep angle, you know? So, same thing, it's that idea with these, I think. And it's not that you can manipulate them and have an effect on it, but it kind of feels like Galda does. Yeah, Galda does, you know? And knowing that it's possible maybe is, maybe the most important thing. So, that is all to say that you gotta be on your P's and Q's because it's not gonna necessarily do what you think it should do. So you got to kind of always account for the fact that anything could happen when that fucker hits the edge of the screen and be ready to deal with it, whatever that may be, you know. So that's happening. And then Galda itself had kind of very similar to Zoel that had the baton. When his arms are in front of him, you can't do damage. So you got to wait for these moments of where he opens those up. And when he does that, he fires off a fire attack that is, again, one of those now tried and true at this point attack styles of the funhouse door and the fucking
snake tongue
Morning Star things, like the really quick, long-reaching attack projectile. So that goes on, and that's pretty much it as far as how it works. But it's hard enough, and because he's blocking at all times when that thing's not happening, and those fucking balls are doing whatever the fuck they want, it took me a few tries for sure, and it was not something I just blew through by any length. So all the challenge that you would want out of it, I think, was there. And that's fucking pretty good, I think. I guess, and as far as like how it looks, it kind of, it was interesting in that it kind of looked like a top view of it. You know what I mean? Like most of the bosses are more of kind of this, I don't want to say isometric, but kind of like a little bit between a straight on view and a top down view to give it some depth. This one was more of just a top down view on it almost, you know. There's a little bit of offsetness to it, but not a ton. So it kind of, to me, it was a weird choice, I thought, for relative to the other bosses for the most part. But that's it. Yeah, I mean, dude, it took me so long that there was a decent little patch of time there where I wasn't even, because it gives you damage feedback. You know, it flashes white when you land hits. So it took such a goddamn long time that I was thinking maybe that was like a red herring and the feedback didn't mean what I think it meant. And there was something I wasn't doing.
Really?
To actually cause damage to it. So it took me that long where I had that thought, you know. I luckily died not too long after, so I didn't spend a ton of time in that fucking emotional limbo. But yeah, it was a deal for sure. So
interesting. I don't know if I had that much trouble. It was more just, you know, because I'm shooting it when I realized that I don't need the ground attack or whichever one that I need. I was just like holding B the whole time. So I'm like, I'm not letting go of this. I'm going to keep shooting at you and dodging, but I'm going to keep shooting until I figure out what the opening is. And then when I realized, all right, it's just the hands, I'm still doing it anyway, just in case, because for a minute,
you never know.
Yeah, for a minute I was unsure. Like, was there another moment where it took damage too? So I'm going to just keep I'm going to be on you the whole time. So it wasn't that bad for me. It wasn't bad at all.
Word. So Galda blows up like all the other bosses on Merking, and we fade to a framed image of the blue dragon with a woman riding on its head, pointing off in the direction it's facing. Yeah, that's like silly. And the ending theme swells. The text reads, Galda was slayed by the blue dragon. The monsters returned to darkness. Light and peace were restored to the earth. Now a new legend is created. The new hero, Lace, and his name will be remembered forever. And then it cuts to a super cute little book with the back cover open. Inside the book, it reads The Legend of Dragon. And then the back cover closes and reveals, it says on the back of the book, the end. That's, you know. Again, I just started that fucking feed that's like the game over the end thing, and like I was watching this, I was like, ooh, this is gonna make a good one of those, you know. It's a super cute little way to present the end. For the end credits, where they're usually just, you know, they use the usual tried and true thing of pseudonyms for a lot of them. So for those, they pair them with the maidens, each one, you know, which is again a cool touch to take you back through those again, and once you see all of them, if you didn't see them, which is another touch that this does, you didn't get them all. So that's where I learned basically that the silhouettes were for sure not the maiden, basically, because I do see them here and knew that those were the silhouette that I had seen previously.
Right.
So yes, this sent me googling, and it's all about the payoff. Lord Disciples, here we go. So there's a post on Game FAQs because, of course, there is. It's the internet. And so, yes, we have 6 maidens. The first 6 areas, basically. So Area 1, that maiden always appears. Doesn't do anything for you other than tell you the story stuff. Area 2, appears if your firepower is below 3. And if your firepower is below 3, so that's not the heads, it's the firepower. If that's below level 3, she restores your energy.
Oh, so that's why I didn't get this.
Exactly.
Oh,
exactly. So I told you, like you don't want to have less than 3. You know, it's not a bad thing.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so again, I told you it was going to floor you. I told you. So then area 3 appears at random, so it's a 50% chance, binary, flip a coin, whether or not you get this. Nothing you have an effect on, and it gives you a 1-up if it does.
Okay, I got that.
You do get the coin flip, and then area 4 appears if your dragon has less than 3 heads, so it's the other side of that previous condition, and also restores your energy. And then area 5 is another one of the random ones, 50% chance, gives you a 1-up just the same. And then area 6 is the head thing again. Appears if your dragon has less than 3 heads, restores energy. So again, 2 of them are completely random. One of them happens every time. And then the others are if you're not fully maxed out on one of the 2 upgrade trees. So you don't want that, you know. So you ideally,
interesting.
But if things are going poorly for you in some way or slightly less than great, these maidens actually improve your situation, which is cool, man. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah, I'm like, if it's less than 3, if I have 2, and you just gave me the last one I needed, then great. Like, that's
right.
Interesting.
Yeah. But you only get that if you're not riding high, you know? So it's just cool. It's like lifting you up in your time of need as opposed to just some blanket-ass power-up, you know, situation. It's really cool storytelling, I think. Yeah. Thought that was really nice touch. And I love that once I read that, I love that they didn't ever reveal that to you in any of the game lore or instruction manual or nothing.
Fascinating.
Like just letting that be something that is just seemingly I don't understand it, but it's not going to make me upset because I don't need it. You know, It's just like a nice little nudge when it happens. So, yeah, very cool. So yeah, the thing about that was, so I told you logical, like reading that, it occurred to me that I did not get all the maidens because I'm bad at Dragon Spirit. It's actually because I'm good at Dragon Spirit.
Yeah.
And or was safe scumming a lot of the time. That is a really, really cool realization.
Okay.
So after the handful of credits finish, the Mermaid Maiden comes up and the text below her reads, "Thank you very much for being with us." So again, they kind of just like a little bit like a message from the developers. You don't get those a lot, which is cool. So that was a nice touch too. And then it fades to presented by Namco as the end tune winds down. And then will stay on the screen in silence as long as you let it. It doesn't do the go back to the title screen thing, play it again or nothing. We are done. Turn off your Nintendo. Go play outside, child. You accomplished something great. We are done here. Now go do something else. So yes. I prefer that to the going back to the title screen shit for sure. So one thing, before we get to our King Lord bureaucracy responsibilities, this game has a very, very fun game over screen that we have not discussed yet, and I made sure to check out before I turned my emulator off. So when you die, and if you don't continue or you have no continues, it cuts to a headstone. And on the headstone, there's some Christian iconography that I'm surprised Big Bad Nintendo of America allowed fucking to be there, but it is there. And that reads "Game Over" below the cross. And then the text below that reads, "It's a pity. You're dead." So good Game Over copy for sure.
Right.
So, no stone left unturned. All the trimmings are here. Great fucking job, Namco. Now let's get into the redundancy of King Loric's Blessing.
That is the Boss Battle 2 theme from Dragon Spirit, the New Legend, of course, bringing us into King Loric's Blessing, shall it be bestowed.
This is a good game, dude. Great shmupping, great theming, dope bosses, awesome power-up trees, dope-ass music, good and effort-filled storytelling, even the great game over screen, you know. I don't know. I'm not sure what the fuck more you could reasonably ask in NES shmup. I really don't. It's like,
yeah.
I literally cannot think of one thing that you'd be like, oh well, if it had that, maybe this would be a better game. I don't know what the fuck that would be. So I'm not trying to say it's a perfect game like Gyres or anything, but it's a fucking really, really good NES shmup. And yeah, I'm glad Jab had this for me to always be intrigued by it. I am so thrilled that I finally finished it and can think of it in its entirety and appreciate it in its entirety. So I'm really glad that we found our way to this, even though we promised ourselves no shmups for a while. So
especially for a game that originally was from 1987. You know what I mean? Right. Like it could have went
way more sideways for sure than it did. Yeah. King Lorik will sure as shit be getting a reco slip from me about giving Dragon Spirit the new legend his blessing officially.
Yes.
Okay, how do you feel about it?
I concur, good sir. The fact that, like, if you're looking at this on YouTube or whatever, like, the art from the Game Over screen with the woman on the dragon's head, it looks like the sock puppet commercial to me. Like, it's freaking, it's perfect, and the game is good. And did I have fun? I did have fun. It feels good to be powerful. If it was remastered? Yeah, I would totally play a remastered
I
version.
thought, dude,
are you kidding me?
So I was looking at this. So this, I saw, I don't know what the fuck I was looking up, but I saw that this was on the PS4 for something, and I was like, oh my god, is there a fucking remaster or a new installment of this? It's not. It's just like arcade classic fucking whatever bullshit. So I think it might have a little bit better graphics. I'm not entirely sure. I couldn't necessarily tell. But yeah, it's not a whole new game, and I was super bummed to see that. Yeah, I would love to see either like a full-on fucking imagining of it in modern fucking technology, and or a new game in this game universe that feels as good. Would be awesome for sure.
Yep, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked a million times about how I found the T16 version of this. I 100%, is kind of, I guess, what I'm saying there with the wanting the remaster is the T16 version is better technology and hopefully feels as good. I don't know that for sure. I've just dabbled with that. But so playing this all the way through makes me want to 100% put it on my plans in my plans to both try that and then the full arcade version too. I'd have to fire up MAME and check that out as well and see if that's good. I mean, I was, even the track that you sent was actually the level. So I was watching the video of it. It looks great. And it's kind of that more bowling alley orientation, the skinnier screen, more orientated for vertical scrolling, so that's interesting dynamic too about the arcade version. That would be interesting to see how that affects your experience. So yeah, man.
Indeed.
Double blessing makes total sense to me. I promised you, and I told you. Next time I ask you to play Solar Jetman, fuck it up. I don't know if you clocked it. We've had a couple fucking pop-ins on the fucking Facebook page and shit about some rumblings about a $100 fucking Able Gamers receipt to get you. That's how badly people are clamoring to see you play Solar Jetman. God. So
we started.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if that comes to be. I'm in full support of it.
All right.
Both for the philanthropy and, of course, the experience of watching Jay be frustrated with old video games. So, our plan was to do Nintendo Power 24, the May 91 issue. I present to you, Jay, an unfinished conversation that I started in our thread. Should we maybe do a Random Rags episode that we have not done in a very long time? And I proposed, you did not reply, the official Nintendo Player's Guide, which is the 1987 deal directly from Nintendo. That is a seminal piece of literature that it's a little bit of an atrocity that we haven't actually covered yet, because it's such a... I didn't have one. You didn't have one, right? I mean, that seems like something there's no way you had. Yeah,
no.
Was it
probably an
expensive? It was probably an expensive book. Yeah, it's super.
I didn't even have a Nintendo at that time.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, and this was, it just looks cool. It looks like a fucking, it's like the classified info kind of vibe to it. It looks like a folio, a secret fucking agent folio, and yeah, it's very much. The cover says it's a complete review of over 90 games for your NES. So we are going to have a lot of classics to debate at the end of that ep that we probably have not yet game-epped that maybe deserve conversation and doing so. So it does two things. One, it's a cool piece of literature that I've never read cover to cover, and I think would be something good for us to just work through as far as this pod being a historical look at the era. But also, yeah, the game. I always talk about how much I love going. When a mag allows us to go back and play a game from way back with some sort of whatever classified info or some sort of pro classic review or whatever it might be that allows us to look back at a title we maybe missed that would have been nice to game up. This will present one of those opportunities for sure, because this is all 87 and earlier, early NES era shit. So, multiple levels of reasons that I think it would be a cool idea. What say ye? Are you open to it?
I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah.
Word.
I definitely did not have this, but this is. I feel like maybe was this at the library?
Dude.
Maybe.
Probably, dude. I mean, there was one in our library. I mean, I'm telling you, dude. Like, it was something that I wanted for sure, and it was like you saw it all the time. I feel like kids. I remember kids having them, even if it wasn't in the library. I remember getting my hands on them at some point as a child and be like, I fucking want to take this from you.
I mean, it goes through all the games.
Yeah,
all the games. Like, how would we?
Yep.
How
would we complete? Well, it's what it reminds me of. I mean, I didn't even go into it because I wanted to just be a fresh experience when we read through it. But if it's covering 90 games like that, and I'm sure it's focused on hints, but it's also kind of just it's almost like it's an expanded version of the catalog. It's essentially their catalog. It's like the company catalog in 1987. Like everything we have to offer. It's like those posters on steroids, that just have all the games. It's essentially just giving you the checklist. If they could convince people to buy 90 of their games, that's what it acts as. It's like the entire checklist of games for you to go get of our library, So that is what it functions as.
Yeah,
I'm sure there is like some level of like they're giving you tips and tricks and shit, but I think it's more just talking about all those games. And yes, there's 90, and that sounds like a lot of work, but most of these we won't need to play. We'll play them when we know them by heart. So.
Yeah,
right.
Sure. But
so
it'll also give us an opportunity, probably, to go play something earlier, like that we missed. So we'll see.
Exactly. So yeah, I think there's multiple reasons why it'll be a fun activity. All right, word. So that is what we'll do. And then we'll play a game app out of that. And then we'll go back to our Nintendo Power timeline of issue 24, the May 91 issue. You can subscribe to the pod on the platform provided by whatever dumbass company that shows up your pottery. Please rate and leave positive shit for the pod on that podcast platform of choice, or any other for that matter. Makes us feel good and helps us out and helps people find this fucking show. And the website is nyehentertainment.com/ISOHpod. You can email us directly at isohpodcast@gmail.com. We have presences on Facebook, Instagram. There's the YouTube gameplay videos playlist. There's the subreddit for the show. All that stuff has links to it in the show notes. We do not have a Patreon, but if you like giving money to things podcasters tell you to, we'd like to switch our direction, or you'd like to make a $100 donation and make Jay play Solar Jetman, any of these things can happen if you go to the Able Gamers Foundation website at ablegamers.org, and they are helping people by creating gaming rigs for gamers with disabilities. That is cool as fuck, of course. We're wearing t-shirts that are on the website that also proceeds go to Able Gamers after we pay for the handful of small expenses this podcast incurs on our pocketbooks. So go score some of those. They are very cool. Jay, what are your socials? Why aren't you on Blue Sky yet?
Because I try to avoid the socials these days. I like my mental health.
Blue Sky's great. Blue Sky's great. Blue Sky is positive.
I think about it when I hear from you during podcasting, and I never think about it again.
As soon as we get off. I can probably send you an invite. I'm sure it's so geared towards like establishing itself, but there's probably like an invite link or something in a very old school fucking website way.
But otherwise, Gentleman JB without the second E. That is my gamer tag.
You gotta reserve that before someone takes it, Jay. Someone's gonna jump on Blue Sky and take it from you if you don't lock down that Gentleman JB with that second E fucking handle. Yeah.
Aye, Captain.
Word. I am on Instagram at MyShiftKeyIsBroke. I'm on Blue Sky at NeEntertainment.com. And then if you want to do science with me, my Steam tag and my Oculus tag as well is also MyShiftKeyIsBroke. Okay, bye.
Bye.